As always, my loves, take a really deep breath in. And as you breathe out, let go of any stress, any worries, anything that's been on your mind, and enjoy a good energetic cleanse. Hello everyone, what is up? What is going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the Zodiac prediction for the month of September of 2022. We're going to be going through some of the astrological transits and how they'll be affecting your Zodiac sign. Feel free to check out your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. All of those can be very different from each other. And if you do not know what your moon sign or your rising sign is, there's some great online calculators that can help you figure that out. Although you will need to know your exact birth time and city in order to know your rising sign. I personally do tropical Western astrology, so that is what we're going to be focusing on in today's video. And there will also be timestamps linked down below in the comment box as well as the description box so that you can skip right ahead to your particular zodiac signs for the month of September. So with that being said, without further ado, let's hop right into it. So my Aries, welcome to your part of the horoscope. This is for my Aries suns, moons, and risings. So right in the beginning of September, on September 4th, we're going to have Venus moving into the sign of Virgo. And this is going to be affecting your 6th house. When Venus transits your 6th house, especially in the sign of Virgo, this is when we start to accumulate more money. This is when we're focused on how can we expand ourselves? How can we create a schedule that really motivates us, that we can feel like we're accomplishing more, that we're serving more, and we're there for, creating more abundance for ourselves and even for others. So there could be a big focus at this time around how can I accumulate more, especially monetarily, so that we can feel like we have more freedom, or that we feel like we can actually accomplish more in our day. This can also be when we start focusing on our physique as well. Venus transit the 6th house is very much about health and physique. So my Aries, you also may be inclined to change your diet around this time, or some of you may be really inclined to start working out more or getting into a routine of some kind that is really healthy and beneficial for you. Virgo is all about health. The 6th house is about your health, and Venus transit over here is really focused on your physique, the way that you feel good, even your appearance, and all sorts of things like that. So around the 4th of September, there's going to be a big focus around these things for all of my Aries, and it is going to continue through the rest of the month. Then on the 9th, we're going to be having Mercury begin its retrograde. It's going retrograde in the sign of Libra, which is in your 7th house. And Mercury retrograde is always when we need to review certain things and we need to revise things. Being in Libra, this is about the balance, and being in the 7th house, this is about your relationships. So we may be reviewing certain things. There could even be people from your past, particularly, coming up at this time, especially people that you were once close with a long time ago. Those people may be coming back around the month of September, especially starting on September 9th and through the rest of the month of September. So there could be people from your past coming up, or you may even be starting to review and reflect upon your past and upon the more recent times. Like, have I been calling my loved ones enough? Have I been telling them that I appreciate them enough? Where are certain imbalances in your interpersonal relationships? The people that you love, the people that you really care about, is that really balanced, or are there certain things that we could improve on? And all sorts of stuff like that. Then on the 10th of the month, we're going to have a full moon in Pisces, which is in your 12th house. The full moons are all about closing certain chapters. Being in the sign of Pisces in your 12th house, this could be closing certain old creative things that we used to be inclined towards. So there could be certain projects that you're wrapping up, that you're finishing up around this time, or you may even feel like you are ready to close a certain chapter mentally in your life. Like there could be certain mental stuff that you've been going through, or a certain way of thinking that you're also ready to close out. There's a desire, whenever we have a full moon in Pisces, it can bring out a lot of creativity. It can bring out a lot of our resistances towards creativity. Like maybe we have certain resistances mentally that we need to kind of get rid of in order to let our full creative expression thrive. And so this full moon, I think for a lot of Aries, it is going to be reinvigorating your creativity by helping you kind of break out of certain limitations in that area. And it also may bring up a sort of feeling of like, oh, I want to complete old projects. I want to complete old things that I said I was going to do. Like, it could revive certain things in you as well around that time. Then on the 27th or the 22nd, we're going to have the fall equinox, which is when the sun moves into Libra. And on that same day, it is actually going to conjunct Mercury in Libra as well, which is all happening in your 7th house. And the sun conjunct Mercury, and Mercury is going retrograde at this time, by the way, on the fall equinox. So this is a kind of bigger sort of transit, and it is bringing a lot of focus towards your relationships. And it is asking you to reflect and review. So I think a lot of my Aries, you are trying to find more balance in your relationships. You are trying to see, okay, where did I go wrong? Where do I need to maybe confront things a little bit more, have certain harder conversations, or, you know, put in more effort into certain things as well. So my Aries, this is going to be a very big focus for the month of September, is your relationships and finding better balance in these relationships. And again, around this time, there could also be a significant person from your past reaching out to you again, or all sorts of things kind of like that. So this could be like a past friendship that you used to be very close with, or this could even be a past romantic partner that you used to be close with that may be kind of entering back into your life, or you even may be feeling like reaching out to some of these people as well. So either they'll be texting you, calling you, coming back into your life in some way, or you may even have a desire that all of a sudden shows up around this time of wanting to maybe communicate certain things to people from your past. So that is something that will be coming up around the 22nd. Then around the 23rd, this is when Mercury retrograde moves back into the sign of Virgo. So Mercury retrograde is moving back into your 6th house from your 7th. So as it moves back into Virgo, which is going to be affecting your 6th house, this is when we might be starting to really start to plan the new regimens that we've been feeling in the beginning of the month with Venus entering your 6th house. This is bringing up a big focus around, again, beauty, your physique, your health, your appearance, even like your money and wanting to strive for more of that. Then Mercury moving back in here is going to really ask you to evaluate, what does that plan actually look like? Maybe we're needing to revise that plan a little bit because maybe we're not really sticking to it, or maybe we just need to create a better schedule that works for us a little bit more so that it's more realistic or attainable for us. So Mercury retrograde moving back in here is going to really help us sort of review our previous kind of plan and to see, is it really working for me? Is this plan bringing me the results that I want? Is it doing all of that? So that is when Mercury retrograde is going to bring up those sorts of thoughts and feelings. Then on the 24th, we are going to have Venus in Virgo, and it's going to be opposing Neptune in Pisces. This is affecting your 6th and 12th house. So Venus in Virgo oppose Neptune being in Pisces. This can be where our creative juices are starting to come out, because Neptune is this sort of fantasy world, but Venus being in Virgo is asking us, how can we bring this fantasy and make it realistic? How can we bring our dreams and make them more practical and bring them into the physical? And Venus is all about money, love, and beauty. So what are we really passionate about? What is realistic in that area? And then Neptune being in Pisces is dreaming up all these different ideas of, ooh, I should do this, or oh, I should do that, or this might be something. You know, there could be a lot of inspiration, and this could even be inspiration from media. We might be seeing certain media, certain videos, seeing other people's stories online, something that might inspire us to make a change in our life. But Venus transiting that 6th house in Virgo is really asking you to make a practical plan. What is a practical plan? How can we make this vision a reality? So that is this Venus and Neptune opposition. This is figuring out how to take this vision and make it physical reality. And you might even notice certain resistances that you may have mentally that are saying, oh, I can't attain that, or I can't do that. But Venus transiting, you know, the 6th house in Virgo is really saying, okay, we can make it physical, but how do we make it physical? So there could be a lot of like planning, again, going on around this time, especially since Mercury's coming back into this area retrograde. Then on the 25th, we're going to be having a new moon in Libra. So tons of Libra and Virgo stuff going on in the month of September. But the new moons are all about new cycles, new births, and being in the 7th house. This is, I think, when the new cycle of your relationships is really going to start to take place, because the whole month of September is a big focus on your relationships for all of my Aries. And you know, this new moon, the new moons signify that new start. So through the month of September, there could be a lot of reflection. There could be a lot of planning, or a lot of like figuring stuff out, figuring out how do I approach this, or how do I make this better? How do I improve this? And then finally, with that new moon being in Libra, which is in your 7th house on the 25th of the month, that's going to really be that beginning of the new cycle where we really start to implement all that we've learned and all that we've reflected on through earlier on in the month. Then on the 29th, we're going to be having Venus moving into the sign of Libra. So it's exiting your 6th house and moving into your 7th house. So Venus moving into Libra, now we are feeling like our relationships are really beginning to improve. We may be feeling a lot more love. We may be noticing that we're receiving a lot more love, and we also feel like giving a lot more love, saying a lot of things, and finding that nice balance in our relationships. So by the end of the month, it seems like all of that is getting kind of sorted out, and then Venus moves into your 7th house, and that is a really positive transit for your interpersonal relationships, and also for learning lots of things that can help really improve your relationships and make them feel a lot more abundant and alive. So that is what we have for my beautiful Aries for the month of September astrologically. And we're also going to now find out about my Aries love life. So if you're curious about your love life in the month of September, I know we talked a lot about kind of relationships in this one since there's a lot of 7th house transits, but let's go ahead and see what Spirit has to say about my Aries love life in September. So Aries, we have the Hierophant being reversed in your love life. So there could be certain things that are a little bit unconventional. You might be a little bit more unconventional in your relationships lately. There may be certain things coming up in the month of September where you feel like not a lot of people would agree with your thoughts or actions during that time. Like, for example, if you're really feeling like reaching out to somebody from your past, it might be very unconventional. A lot of people might be thinking like, why would you do that? I don't know. And then, you know, it might be something that just ends up happening, for example. And the Hierophant reverse is definitely like doing things in an unorthodox way. So even you might be kind of questioning your actions, being like, this is kind of out of my character this month, but I really feel like doing this or saying this or stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit, or stepping outside of what is societally correct or societally normal. So that could be something that is coming up in the month of September in your love life, is just things that might be a little bit more unconventional than the average sort of thing that you'd find yourself doing. We also have the codependency card coming up. So where are we maybe like being a little bit too dependent on other people's emotions? You know, we may be starting to people please a lot because maybe we are finding ourselves in situations where we're finding that our emotions are directly correlated to somebody else's happiness and emotions. And if we find ourselves in that place, how can we begin to kind of separate ourselves a little bit in order to create a little bit more of a balance in our relationships? So if you are feeling a little bit like codependent, or like you need certain things to happen, because codependency can even be when we have that feeling of like, I need this to happen in order for me to be happy. I need to feel this. I need to get this. And sometimes it can push us to do certain things that we wouldn't normally do, and it's kind of out of our character, but it's because we have this feeling and this need to like kind of fill a certain part of ourselves and get some sort of validation. We also have let go of control issues. So this month is big time about letting go of those codependent sort of feelings, and then also letting go of control issues. So trying to control the situation, trying to get a certain outcome because we feel like we need it, right? So the month of September is bringing up these in order for it to be healed. So we may be reflecting on previous actions that were like, you know, I could have handled that differently, but this is a lot of growth for my Aries through this month. This is tons of growth for you. And there's a reminder here from Spirit, like, we don't have to always do things in the conventional way. We don't have to, right? Because this is how we learn. We learn by making our own path, right? So I really think for my Aries, which Aries is all about making their own path. The month of September for your love life is very much about creating your own path, your own unique path. And I think it's going to allow you to grow a lot and to also learn a lot and let go of previous things that were holding you back, because codependency and control issues absolutely hold us back in all relationships. So when we're talking about your love life, it looks like in the month of September, you are going to be letting go of these things because they have been maybe stopping you from fully achieving what it is that you desire. And there's going to be, I think, a lot of realizations in the month of September about letting those go. And so it's going to be a very healing month. And I think it's going to be very transformative in a very positive way for my Aries. So I hope you enjoyed this video, this reading. Don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs in order to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Tauruses, suns, moons, and risings, welcome to your part of the horoscope for September of 2022. So happy that you are here. So we start off September on September 4th with Venus moving into Virgo, and this is transiting your 5th house. When Venus transits the 5th house, this can bring a highlight to our dating life, and this can make our dating life a lot more fun and exciting. We might be feeling a lot more love coming up during this time, or we might even be feeling like things are just more fun. The 5th house is all about fun, and when Venus is here, the Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And when it transits that 5th house, we're noticing that we're having a lot more fun. We may even be having a lot more fun in our work as well, in our job. We may just be feeling like things are just going well. We may also be feeling like we're in the spotlight right now. We're just feeling good. And this is highlighting your dating life as well. Being in Virgo, this can also be a very healing transit as well. Venus in Virgo does bring out a focus on more abundance. So creating more abundance and also being of service to others. We may feel like there's something happening in our life where maybe we're really interested in like pleasing somebody. And not necessarily in like a needy way, but this is just more of like a fun kind of maybe romantic and playful way. We may be really excited to like start letting our playful side out a little bit more and to really uplift somebody's mood. So there could be somebody in your life that you're really wanting to make them smile or wanting to like make them really happy. Or this could even be like reflecting towards yourself as well, wanting to make yourself more happy, wanting to like make yourself have a bit more fun and be smiling and be in a more lighthearted, uplifting kind of mood with Venus moving into your 5th house. So this is a really fun transit. It's going to be taking over most of the month of September. So most of the month of September is going to be very much about that fun kind of lighthearted mood. Then on the 9th of the month, we're going to be having Mercury going retrograde in Libra, which is in your 6th house. And this is when we're starting to need to focus on balancing our work life a little bit more. We may be noticing and trying to reflect and review maybe where we need a little bit more balance between personal and work life. So being in the 6th house, this is bringing that focus towards your schedule, towards your regular routine. And Mercury is really asking you to sort of sort things out, figure things out. And Libra is the sign of all of that balance. So how are we going to balance out our personal life and our work life, especially since, you know, we're starting off the month with that Venus transit? A lot of us, a lot of Tauruses are definitely going to start feeling like my personal life is really fun and I think I want to have a bit more of my personal life. And Mercury is going to be coming through that 6th house, asking us to review and revise our routine, our schedule. And in the 6th house, this can also be where it's bringing a focus on our health and our diet. The 6th house can also rule those things as well. On top of just schedule and routine, it can also be a little bit about, you know, the way that we're feeling internally and wanting to feel more vital. It's the area of vitality. So are we eating healthy food that's making us feel good? Do we need to maybe review and revise some of our old workout routine? Are we really matching up to our goals that we've wanted to attain and all that kind of stuff? So Mercury retrograde is definitely asking us to review and revise these areas. So how can I review my previous stuff, even in my work? So this could even be bringing out work stuff for a lot of Tauruses. We may be reviewing like, could I have done a better job in this, in whatever I'm working in? Could I have done a better job here? Did I maybe kind of like miss something before? You know, this could be a time where a lot of Tauruses begin reflecting on the past, you know, couple months in work and wanting to maybe improve and revise those things so that they can become even better. Then on the 10th of the month, we're going to be having a full moon in Pisces, which is in your 11th house. This is closing out an old chapter with maybe most likely friendships. Okay, so full moons are always closing out old chapters. Being in the 11th house would be closing an old chapter with friendships. So maybe we're noticing that we are wanting to change our routine and our schedule, or maybe we're noticing that we're spending more time with new people rather than, you know, our regular crowd. So this full moon is definitely going to kind of help us end an old cycle, an old chapter, especially when it comes to our friendships in our life. Then on the 22nd, we're going to be having the fall equinox, which is when the sun also moves into Libra, and it's also going to be conjuncting Mercury in Libra because Mercury just went retrograde, and they're going to be meeting up right on that fall equinox as the sun moves into Libra, which is going to be a very special kind of really cool transit. And this is all happening in your 6th house. So this fall equinox, it is sort of setting the stage for the entire tone of the season of fall for my Tauruses. And this is really opening up a big focus around work, around your schedule, and around sort of revising this area so that it really begins to work for you. So during the whole kind of season of fall, a lot of my Tauruses, you're going to be focused on how can I make my work better? How can I kind of achieve the goal that I want to in my career? Right? So how can I have the schedule for that? How can I have the routine for that? How can I have the communication in that area so that I can really kind of achieve the dreams that I'm really wanting to reach for? Then on the 23rd, we're going to be having that Mercury retrograde moving into the sign of Virgo. So it's going retrograde, and it was in Libra, and it's moving back into Virgo, which that is going to be moving back into your 5th house. So Mercury moving back into your 5th house, this is kind of inviting you to have a more lighthearted, more fun mood, especially when it comes to just your entire personal life. So how can we bring in more fun, more enjoyment? How can we revise certain things so that we can begin to open up a little bit more and just enjoy ourselves? So some of my Tauruses, if you are dating in the moment, we may be revising certain things kind of in a way that allows us to open up more. And we may be reviewing certain things in our past so that we can open up communication more, how we can open up our heart more so that we can just invite in more fun, more livelihood into our life. And if you are not currently dating or you do not have a partner in your life, this would be a big focus on you. How can I personally add in more fun into my life? How can I personally start to enjoy life a little bit more? And we may be reflecting on our past, habits and routines, and we might be like, I need to revise and change this, because if I do, it'll allow me to open up and enjoy my life a little bit more. Then on the 24th, we're going to be having Venus in Virgo oppose Neptune in Pisces. This is going to be affecting your 5th and 11th house. So this can be a transit actually where we have an idea in our head that we can keep up with all the different people in our life. We have this vision in our head like, oh, I can keep up with family, friends, dating, this, that. We have this kind of fantasy, and that's that Neptune energy being in Pisces. It's this imagination. We have no problem imagining how perfect that can be, but when it's in opposition with Venus in Virgo being in your 5th house, it's like, how can we actually implement that so it's practical? We may be noticing that certain people in our life are really wanting to see us, but maybe we're realizing I don't actually have like the time to do all the things that I used to do or do all the things that I thought I could keep up with. So we may be noticing some resistance around the end of September when it comes to the people in our life wanting more of our time. We might be realizing that all the things that we said yes to maybe aren't that practical. Maybe we're needing to say no to certain things in order to kind of meet our needs and our desires of what we're really wanting. So maybe we're going to need to sort things out during that time, and that is a time of being able to sort those things out. So we're just realizing how we can make our vision a little bit more practical. And then on the 25th, we're going to be having a new moon in Libra, which is in your 6th house. New moons are all about new cycles and new beginnings, and being in the sign of Libra in your 6th house, this is about balancing out that new routine and that new schedule. So since we were also kind of bringing that up and talking about that earlier on through the other transits, it seems like this new moon is actually going to be where all of this begins to take place and actually begin to transpire. These new schedules, these new habits and routines. Some of you may even be taking up like a new workout schedule. Some of you may be taking up a new work work schedule, working out or work schedule. Some of you may be taking up a new diet around this time. Some of you may be taking up a new kind of sort of plan for your life, a new routine for your life, a new sort of everyday kind of structure to your life. So a lot of you are noticing that certain things are coming into your life that you're wanting to make more time for, and we're really needing to sort out the structure of our everyday sort of routine. And the new moon on the 25th is really starting to implement this and allow this to actually begin to transpire and take place. Then on the 29th, we're going to be having Venus moving into Libra, which is going to be in your 6th house. And when Venus transits this area, it brings out a big focus around attaining more abundance in your life. It also brings around a focus on your schedule and routine, because 6th house is all about that. It's also about our service to others. We may be really feeling like, hey, I want to begin to express myself more. I want to begin to make people smile a little bit more, make them have fun. And Venus moving into this sign, also, this is about balancing out your day-to-day routine so that it offers more abundance, so that you can offer a little bit more love and attention and awareness to people that are in your life. So where are we maybe not bringing the attention to certain people when we need to? Are we really aware when we're having certain conversations? Are we, giving our best foot forward? Venus moving into here is really allowing us and giving us the opportunity to give proper advice when needed. It's really giving us the opportunity to step up and sort of also be a healer in certain ways as well. So we may be interested in healing certain aspects of ourselves, or even healing certain aspects of other people, bringing about more balance in your relationships and your personal life versus your work life. So I also think that this could also be about diet as well, because the 6th house is about work, service to others, and also diet, health, and exercise. So this could also be when we're bringing out a focus on, I want to be a little bit more balanced when it comes to my health. So some of you also maybe focus more on that. Like, I want to be more balanced in my health. I want to take health a little bit more seriously. I want to take my body a bit more seriously. So some of you also may be focused on that in the month of September as well, especially near the end of September. So now we are going to ask a little bit about Taurus's love life. So my Taurus's suns, moons, and risings. Let's find out about your love life during the month of September. So we have the card of wedding. So a lot of my Tauruses, you may be like really focused on your dating life, or your relationship life. If, some of you may already be married, some of you may be, focused on somebody. And wedding can indicate that there's more commitment here. There may be more of a commitment to your love life in the month of September. You may be feeling like you want to focus on it more. So even if you're single, the wedding card coming up can indicate that we're coming up with a desire to focus on our dating life a little bit more. If you're already in a relationship, maybe you're really wanting to add more time, create more time for your romantic life. So wedding coming up is definitely a bigger focus on love life for my Tauruses. Wanting more commitment. Somebody may have also caught your eye, right? The way that she's looking at him. So some of you, there could be somebody that has caught your eye that you're really wanting to spend more time with. Let's see what else we get for my Tauruses. We literally have new love coming up. A lot of you, there could be like feelings of love coming up in your life, especially if you've been seeing somebody. There could be just this feeling of wanting to create, even if you're in a long-term relationship and it's been going on for forever now. New love can also indicate that we are reinvigorating that spark in us. And we're like, you know what? I want to create more new romance and love. There could be something happening in the month of September that makes you feel more romanced and more loved. For those of you that are single, some of you may be beginning to desire more of that love kind of connection into your life. We also have past life relationship coming up. So a lot of you may be feeling like this could be talking about reinvigorating a spark from the past. So if you're in a long-term relationship, maybe we're reinvigorating that spark where it just feels like so fun and so new again. Or for some of you, past life relationship could even indicate that we are maybe focused on something from our past and wanting to bring that back in. We're wanting to feel that certain way again as we did previously. You know, we may be thinking about previous experiences we've had with our partner, and we're like, I want to experience that again. I want to feel that again. Or for some of you, this could even be like a connection where you just feel really close with somebody. It's almost like you've known them forever, especially if you are new to dating, or if you have somebody new in your life. It could be a connection where you feel like really comfortable with that person really quick. So let's get any last information for my Taurus's love life in September. Let's see. Taurus's September love life. All right, so we have the Tower being reversed. A lot of you, this is going to be a month of rebuilding, especially when it came to like certain fears or self-sabotage in relationships. A lot of my Tauruses, you are going to be healing previous like self-sabotage tendencies from your past when it came to your love life. So there could have been certain fears around commitment. There could have been certain fears around love in general and opening yourself up. The month of September is all about setting a brand new foundation to where you feel safe to love. You feel safe to open up. This could also be a month where you're reflecting on, where did I used to make past mistakes? Where did I used to kind of like, you know, ignore problems? So that could be something that's coming up in September for my Tauruses in your love life. You may be reflecting on the past and thinking like, I used to just ignore problems. I used to sweep them under the rug, and then they would come out and crash and burn in the future. So we may be looking on those certain things, looking on those previous mistakes and looking at, okay, how can I set a brand new foundation for myself to where things will actually work, to where I can actually build something solid and trustworthy and secure. So that is going to be a big focus for the month of September for my Tauruses in your love life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. I am sending you all of my love, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Hello, my Geminis, and welcome to your part of the horoscope. This is for my Gemini suns, moons, and risings. So let's get into it. Your month of September. We start off on the 4th of September with Venus moving into the sign of Virgo. This is going to be in your 4th house. So Venus entering your 4th house is going to bring about more abundance when it comes to wanting to spend more time with family, or wanting to focus more on romance, or even your home life. So some of you may also be into kind of like redecorating at this time, or some of you may be into like a new vibe. And Geminis are all about sort of like switching identities a lot. Geminis are really into like always wanting to kind of like create a new persona, create a new life, and all that kind of stuff. So Venus transiting the 4th in the sign of Virgo may bring out this idea that maybe we're wanting to change around our environment a little bit. Maybe we're wanting to add in more romance into our life, more fun, more ease, more comfort, because Venus in the 4th house is all about comfort, all about family life, but also romance and love, and rooting yourself into a solid foundation of being able to create more of that into your life. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So we may also be really interested in saving more of our money as well, because the 4th house is about our foundation and our security. So Venus moving over here in the sign of Virgo, we may be making practical plans of, I want to actually have a bank account that seems like it's growing, that seems like it's growing in more abundance and all of that. And it also is about bringing in more of that love and beauty and comfort, and a focus on kind of maybe the aesthetic that surrounds you as well. Then on the 9th of the month, we're going to be having Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Libra, which is in your 5th house. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde, it asks us to reflect and review and revise certain things that have happened over the past few months. So as this goes retrograde in your 5th house, we might be reviewing and reflecting upon how we like to have fun. The 5th house is about our personal life, our dating life, how we enjoy ourselves, our fun and our optimism and all of that. And with Mercury going retrograde over here, we might be reviewing the past couple months and thinking to ourselves like, how was I enjoying myself? Was I enjoying myself to my fullest, or was I overworking myself? Did I add in enough fun into my life? Am I actually doing activities that I find are pleasing? How can I add in more enjoyment into my life? How can I enjoy my life and add in that spark back into my life? So a lot of my Geminis, you're figuring out how to reinvigorate and reignite that spark back into your life, especially around beginning on the 9th of September. So on the 9th of September, that is when this sort of reflection is really going to begin really deeply, and for us to really think about that on a deeper level. Then on the 10th, we're going to have a full moon in Pisces, and this is in your 10th house. Full moons are all about closing old chapters and old cycles. Being in the sign of Pisces, this can deal with media, this can deal with our creativity, our vision that we have for our future. Being in the 10th house, this is about career or big goals that we have. So there may have been previous old goals that we had in our career or in our life that we really wanted to attain or reach for, and the full moon is closing out that old chapter. It is asking us to create a new vision. So we might be wrapping up the finishing touches on like an old cycle that we had in our career. Okay, so for the past like few years, we may have been working on certain things, and maybe we've accomplished certain parts of that, and maybe we're ready to just like add the finishing touches on that and start to begin a new cycle. So a lot of my Geminis, you are ready to begin a new cycle, but first it's going to start with being able to let go of old goals and obligations and things that maybe we're still hanging on to. You've climbed to the top of a certain mountain, and maybe we're realizing like it's time to let go and start the climb of a new mountain. Okay, so that will be happening on the 10th of the month. Then on the 22nd is the fall equinox, where the sun moves into the sign of Libra, and it is also going to be meeting up and conjuncting on that same day Mercury, which has been in retrograde in Libra. So when these two meet up, this is going to be meeting up in your 5th house, and this is going to set the tone for the rest of the season of fall. So the season of fall is going up until December. That's when winter starts on December 21st. But with it conjuncting with Mercury in Libra in your 5th house, this is really asking you to think about what is fun for you, Gemini. What do you enjoy doing? I feel like most of Gemini's biggest fear is boredom. So what is fun to you? It's time to figure out a new cycle of fun. What is something that you enjoy doing? How can you enjoy your day a little bit more? How can you enjoy your career more? How can you enjoy your personal life, your love life more? What do we need to implement? What do we need to add? What do we need to change in order to begin enjoying that a lot more and bringing in more balance so that we can have more fun, and we're not just overworking ourselves. We're not just, doing what we know we should do, but we're also doing what we want to do. So Gemini, it's time to find the balance between doing what you have to do versus also doing what you want to do. And then on the 23rd of the month, we have Mercury retrograde that's going to be retrograding back into the sign of Virgo, and that's going to be in your 4th house. So this could be where we start to revise our foundation and our security, especially maybe even our bank account. So we might be looking at the way that we make money and spend money, and we might be thinking to ourselves, should I invest differently? Should I create a new financial plan? Should I create a new plan for my home life? So some of you may even be reviewing your home life currently. Do you like what it is? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like this is actually home for you? Do you feel like you want to stay rooted where you currently are, or are you ready for something new? Are we connecting to our family enough? Right? Are we seeing them enough? Are we spending enough time with them? So Mercury retrograde could even bring up certain things from the past in family. So there could be certain stuff within your family from your past that might also get brought up at this time, so that it can be healed, so that we can find more comfort, so that we can find deeper connection with our family and make ourselves feel more connected to that. Then on the 24th, we have Venus in Virgo oppose Neptune in Pisces, and this is your 4th and 10th house. So where are we maybe noticing certain resistance when it comes to what we are dreaming up in our head in our work life, versus how is it maybe in conflict with the practicality of it? Do we have enough money to invest in these visions? Do we have enough time to invest in these visions? Are we properly balancing out personal life, our home life versus work life? Or are those kind of getting intermingled? Are we kind of, not really sticking to a schedule and working all hours of the night? Or are we, are there certain conflicts when it comes to our personal life, our home life versus our work life? Are we able to separate those enough in order to create more balance here? So this is really starting to ask all of my Geminis, this part of the month is really bringing out that energy of, can we figure out how to create more balance in that? Can we create more balance and separation so that we feel like we have a home life and a career life and they're not so intermingled to where they're getting jumbled up? Or even, are we, creating enough of a separation so we feel like we can invest in our home life, but also invest in our work and our job? So where are we maybe intermingling our finances a little bit, and where do we maybe need to create more separation so that we can have a more balanced home life and work life? Then on the 25th, we're going to be having a new moon in Libra, and this is going to be in your 5th house. All new moons are the beginning of a new cycle. They're the opening of a new cycle. Being in your 5th house, this is a new cycle of romance in your life. This is a new cycle of fun. So all of a sudden, as we were reflecting on the last, month that we had, where all of this stuff was beginning to come up for us, now with this new moon, it's really like, okay, let's balance this out and let's figure out how we can have a really good enjoyment in our life, and how we can bring out more passion, how we can bring out more romance, more spark, more fun, more excitement. How can we bring that out? This new moon is literally the beginning of that new cycle. So a lot of my Geminis, you are absolutely figuring it out, what you enjoy doing, what you find the most passionate and motivating, and what really inspires you, what makes you feel the most romanced. So this new moon is really beginning to bring that out on the 25th. It is a whole new cycle in the more enjoyment kind of part of your life. Then on the 29th, we have Venus moving into Libra. So Venus is now going to be moving into your 5th house as well. And this is going to be where it really starts to take off. So Venus moving into the 5th house, we are now really beginning to focus on what is fun for me, what makes me feel enjoyment. I keep jumbling up my words. So Venus moving here is bringing out more of a focus on your dating life. We might even be expressing ourselves more in our dating life, wanting to create more romance in our life. Venus moving here is literally when we get super in touch with our romantic self, really in touch with our fun side, and we begin to enjoy life a lot more. Venus transit the 5th is such a beautiful, creative, and passionate transit. So a lot of my Geminis, you're going to notice that passion really begins to ignite by the end of September. There could be certain things happening in your life, certain people in your life that are just making you feel so much more love, and maybe even you are doing certain things for yourself that are making you feel more loved. And this is going to be really what starts to ignite more passion in your life. So that is what we have for my Geminis for the month of September, my Gemini sun, moons, and risings. So now let's go ahead and find out the love life for my beautiful Geminis. So we have the 9 of Swords coming up. So there's certain things that we may be worried about mentally that are not really going on physically, but we might have certain things coming up like, oh, what if this doesn't happen? What if this is what's really going on behind the scenes? What if, our mind can overthink. Gemini rules the mind. And so a lot of my Geminis, you may be having certain thoughts come up to where we're overthinking certain things and we're worried about oh, what's going to happen? Is this happening? Is that happening? We might just be kind of thinking about worst case scenario, even though that's not actually what's going on. And we also have the card here of true love. So what is it that we really love? What is it that we really want to attract? Gemini, this is going to be the big question of the month for your love life is, what makes me feel loved? How can I focus more on that rather than focusing on what I'm worried about? So rather than focusing on what could go wrong, let's begin to focus on what makes me feel the truest love. So we're beginning to switch our mindset a little bit in the month of September. There could even be certain things coming up that we're like, oh, this is kind of stressing me out a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's what makes me feel the truest love? And how can we begin to express that in order to kind of get our mindset back on the right track, you know? And even if we're worried, sometimes those thoughts, they are valid, but also sometimes those thoughts are just nothingness. Sometimes it's just brain chatter, and it ends up kind of being to our detriment because it brings us down. And then we also keep an open mind. So the possibilities may be more than what we are expecting. So just as this card says, your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. I'm almost reading this card as the outcome is likely going to differ from your usual expectations. So you may be worried about certain things, but I really think that anything that you're worried about in the month of September is turning out a-okay, and there is nothing to worry about here, because the outcome, I think, is different from what you're usually expecting, is what Spirit is saying the message is for your love life in the month of September. You may even be having like certain dreams that come up that may be like, I really feel like there may be a significant dream in the month of September for a lot of you, or worries that might be keeping you up at night. And the whole universe right now is like, you know, don't put too much emphasis on that, because I really think the outcome is not what you think. I think that there's going to be really positive outcomes. So the month of September is all about letting go of those worries and how to just have more fun, how to let loose, how to add in more romance, how to focus on that true love and keep an open mind and focus on what it is that you want rather than what may be causing you worries during the month of September. So that is what we have for my Geminis. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs in order to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. I am sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. All right, so my Cancers, welcome to your part of the horoscope. This is for my Cancers, suns, moons, and risings. So we start off September on September 4th specifically. We have Venus moving into the sign of Virgo. So this is going to be when Venus begins to transit your third house. And for my Cancers, what this means for you is that there's going to be more of a desire for intellectual stimulation. You may be really curious around this time. You may be noticing that you want to Google a lot of things, or you want to pick up a lot of books, or you want to have deeper conversations with people, and you may desire to also expand your knowledge and learn something new around this time. There's a genuine curiosity for a lot of my Cancers as we enter the month of September. You may also desire to learn more about money as well, or may desire to learn more about love and romance with Venus transit the third. There could be a lot more expression, a lot more communication, and you may also meet somebody or begin talking to somebody and have some sort of special connection around the beginning of the month that feels really good, that you're really excited to like talk to this person and get to know them and, you know, talk about all sorts of different things. There could be a really interesting conversation that ends up coming up in the beginning of September. And then on September 9th, we have Mercury retrograde in the sign of Libra, and this is going to be transiting your fourth house. So Mercury retrograde is a time of revision and reflection and being able to review certain things from the past previous 2 to 3 months. So Mercury retrograde over here in your fourth house is reviewing your foundation, reviewing your roots, even reviewing interactions with family or your family. What do you really desire in your future? What do you desire connections to be like in your family? Okay, so Mercury retrograde over here is kind of reflecting on the past few months. How have we been showing up for our family? Do we feel really comfortable? Do we want to feel more comfortable, especially even in our home life? This could be reviewing and adjusting certain things around your home so that you feel like it's more of a home, so that you feel like it's more of a place where you can feel connected and grounded and secure. This can also be where we start reviewing our finances as well and our sense of security. But the fourth house is more about finances that we save rather than finances that we spend. The fourth house is more of our sense of security, our security blanket. So as we review this month with the Mercury retrograde in the fourth house, you may be called to reflect upon your savings. Are we saving enough? Do we feel like we have a good sense of security that we can rely on? We might even be reviewing plans and making new financial plans for our future around this time as well. And also reviewing how we just want to be with our family. Are we spending enough time with them? Do we feel connected to them? Are there certain issues that maybe we need to bring up and discuss so that we can clear it out of the way so that we can feel more connected with our family and feel more secure in our sense of home life? Okay, then on the 10th of the month, we have the full moon in Pisces, which is going to be in your 9th house. And the full moons are all about closing old chapters, and they're more about endings and kind of like tying up loose ends to finish things off. So being in your 9th house with this full moon, this is sort of the ending to old ways of being, old philosophies. And also, I feel like a lot of my Cancers, you've expanded a lot in your life. And over the past couple years, you've expanded so much, but now it's time to like tie up those loose ends, because that's now complete. You've completed those phases. You've completed those big expansions that you've been really wanting to. And now it's time for us to wrap up those loose ends so that we can begin expanding in new ways, and so that we can kind of like start some new chapters here. Because I feel like a lot of my Cancers, you've reached a lot of the big goals that you've had. So now the universe is like, okay, maybe it's time to make some new ones. Maybe it's time to use our imagination a little bit and realize that maybe we need to start closing up and wrapping up these ones so that we can move on to something new, so we can start a new chapter. Then on the 22nd of the month, we're going to have our fall equinox, which is when the sun moves into Libra. On this same day, though, as the sun moves into Libra, it is going to conjoin with Mercury, and Mercury's in retrograde in Libra as well. So those two are going to be conjunct on this day, and that's going to be in your 4th house. So this is sort of setting the tone for the entire season of fall. So all the way up until December 21st, this is sort of like laying out what the energy is going to be like during this time. So with this sun and Mercury conjunction in the 4th, this is really going to begin to highlight all that you've been sort of reviewing. And this is really calling all my Cancers. It's like, let's make some decisions this month so that the rest of our fall season can actually be something that's really good. And this is all about that reviewing and revising and starting to save. So a lot of my Cancerians, there's going to be a desire to start saving your money, to grow your savings account, create a bigger security blanket, spend more time with family, heal some certain things possibly around our family life as well, so that we can feel positive and move forward after Mercury goes direct again. Okay, then on the 23rd, we're going to have Mercury retrograde go back into the sign of Virgo, and this is going to be in your 3rd house. So as Mercury moves back into your 3rd house, we may be reviewing and revising certain things around what we've been learning lately. And we might be thinking about like, oh, how can I really implement all the things that I've been learning? How can I implement all the things that I've been picking up on and the things that I've been reading and telling myself that I'm going to do? How do I actually review and revise that and reflect and think to myself, like, am I doing this right? Or am I implementing this enough? Or should I change things around in my life so that I can start getting the outcomes that I really want? Because Cancers, you are very curious, and you have been learning a lot. Especially because you're empathic. You can pick up on things from other people and learn new things from other people. So as Mercury goes retrograde in your 3rd house, we may be reviewing and revising and looking at certain things that we've learned over the past few months. And now we're like, how do I implement that into my life a little bit more so that I can continue on this journey in a new way? So that would be Mercury retrograde in the 3rd. This can also be when we're reflecting on old friendships, old communication. We may be reflecting on old things that we've said in the past that maybe we want to review and revise and re-bring up and talk about. So there could be certain things that we've brought up or talked about or said or communicated to other people in the past, and maybe we're reflecting on that and we're like, how can I like maybe fix certain things that were maybe left unsaid? How can I maybe fix certain things that still need to be brought up and talked about? Then on the 24th, we're going to have Venus in Virgo oppose Neptune in Pisces, and this is going to be in your 3rd and your 9th house. This is going to be where we are dreaming up of all these different things, especially when it comes to expansion, travel, things that we really want to do, things that we're aspiring to in our future. So Neptune is like this planet of dreaming up this fantasy world, right? And it is in opposition with Venus and Virgo, which is a little bit more practical and about how we bring it into the real world. So when it comes to the things that you're dreaming up, when it comes to travel and all that kind of stuff, when it's opposing Venus in the 3rd in Virgo, That is asking us, okay, how can we create a practical plan to make this vision come to life, to make these travel ideas come to life, to make these expansion ideas come to life, to make these philosophical ideas that we keep thinking of, how can we use them practically in our everyday kind of life? Or how can we create plans to start implementing all these things that we're dreaming of, all these things that we're learning and thinking of? Okay, and then we're also going to have the new moon in Libra, and that's going to be on the 25th, and that's occurring in your 4th house. So there's going to be a whole new cycle opening up for you on the 25th. New moons are all about those new cycles, and being in your 4th house, this is a new cycle in your home life. This is a new cycle for you financially. This is a new cycle for you with your family as well. So the people that are really close to you and important to you. Maybe it's time for us to create new cycles that are a bit more healthy, that are a bit more balanced, because Libra is all about finding that balance. So now we're finding our balance financially. We're finding our balance with our family. We're finding our balance with our home life and how we can find more comfort and more time to spend maybe at home and feeling more grounded and secure in this area. Then on the 29th, we're going to have Venus moving into Libra, which is also in your 4th house. And as Venus moves into the 4th house, this is going to really begin to solidify this area. Venus is the planet of money, beauty, and love. And so as it moves into the 4th house, this can be when we really start to notice a shift in our finances. And this can also be when we really notice a shift in our interactions with the people that we love, with the people that are our family. So we're possibly even creating more loving connections. We are maybe expressing ourselves a little bit more with our family, and we're focused on, okay, let's create something that's more in harmony, something that's more in balance. You may even have your family reach out to you more at this time, and have your family begin to want to communicate with you more and want to spend more time with you. And you may also have certain opportunities coming in your life, or a certain new financial plan that we were creating with this Mercury retrograde that is now really causing you to focus on now saving money and creating more abundance. And this could also be a time where you're noticing more money is coming in, or there's some sort of improvement in your home life in general, whether that be your security blanket at home, like your finances, or even with the people in your family. So that is what we have for my Cancers for the month of September. And now we are going to go into my Cancer's suns, moons, and risings love life for the month of September. So let's see what Spirit has to say for my beautiful Cancer's love life this month. So we have the Four of Cups being reversed. So this card actually being reversed is actually more positive than it being upright. Both are positive in their own way though, because both of them are a lesson that ends up helping us move forward. But when this card is reversed, this is about us taking on opportunities that have kind of always been there, but maybe we've been blowing them off. We've been kind of like, no, I won't do that, or no, I'm going to save that for some other time, or I'm just going to not focus on certain things, especially when people want to reach out to you and people have something to say to you. Have we been giving them the cold shoulder lately? Because September is the month where we are actually becoming more aware of people's thoughts and emotions and feelings and how they've been maybe trying to help us, or maybe people that have been wanting to put a smile on our face. Now we're becoming more open to that. So the month of September, I really think that there's going to be this opportunity to take on more love and to open up to more love in the month of September, and realizing that there has always been more love waiting for you. And now is finally the time to turn around and take that opportunity, instead of ignoring it, or instead of looking at what all the problems are. Instead of looking at what all the problems are, my Cancers, the month of September is about realizing that there is more love here for us to experience. There's been love that's been waiting for us to experience. So rather than focusing on and giving all of our love to things that are not really giving it back to us, now's the time to give love to what has been giving it back to us. Show more appreciation towards those things, because wherever we put our attention, that is what grows, right? So in terms of our love life with other people, if we're constantly focused on what they're doing wrong, we're growing that energy, right? Because now we're bringing their focus to it more. So if you're constantly pointing out to somebody what they're doing wrong, which, it is valid at some times, but when we really have a hard time letting it go, and we're constantly always focused on what somebody's doing wrong, we're causing them to focus on it more. And when they focus on it more, they tend to actually do it more. They tend to take on those actions more because their attention is now on, oh my God, I'm doing this wrong. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. But when we're constantly doing that, it's like if I tell you to think about it, or it's like if I tell you don't think about an elephant. It causes you to think about an elephant. Even if I say don't think about a giraffe, it causes you to think about a giraffe. So when we're constantly pointing out to somebody repeatedly what we do not like and what we do not want, of course, yes, we're bringing them aware of it, which is good, but the detriment of that is we're actually causing them to focus on that more, which causes them to do it more. So the positive thing, the good thing about what this card is trying to say is when we focus more on telling somebody what we do like, we cause them to focus on that more. Therefore, we cause them to change their actions in that way because now they're aware of what we do want. You know, it is beneficial to know what somebody doesn't want, but at the end of the day, if we're only focused on what they don't want, we don't really know how to please them because we still don't know, right? And so we don't really know, okay, how should I be acting? Obviously, I shouldn't act in this way, but that's all I'm focused on now because that's all I know, right? But when we can point out to somebody, you know, I really like when you're this way. Oh my gosh, that made me feel so good when you said that. Or, oh my gosh, I so appreciated when you did that. That made me feel so good. Or, remember that time a couple years ago when you did that for me? I loved that so much. Now we're causing them to focus on the things that we like, the things that we do want, right? We're pointing out the goodness in them and we're noticing like, hey, you know what? I really noticed you're a really smart person. You're really good at math. You're really good at, you know, blank. We're causing them to focus on their good qualities, which actually brings out more of the good qualities. So it's wherever we bring our focus, right? It's wherever we bring our focus. So let's see what else we have for my Cancers. It is safe for you to love. So some of my Cancers, where have you been closing off your heart out of fear? Some of my Cancers, you have been maybe possibly closing yourself off, feeling like it's unsafe. Maybe we've had a lot of disappointment in the past. Maybe we've kind of shut ourselves down a little bit. And I'm really seeing that the month of September is about my Cancers opening back up to love more. And opening up to allow yourself to express your love more. We also have chemistry. So there's definitely going to be some opportunities in the month of September to ignite a spark in our love life, and we also have trust. This is a time where we need to begin focusing on trust and communication because I think that's going to actually be what ignites chemistry for you. So my Cancers, if you've been wanting more chemistry and love, if you've been wanting more attraction, if you've been wanting to magnetize love to you, if you've been wanting to feel more love, the best way that Spirit is saying how to do that is to start focusing on the positives for one, bring more of our focus there, talk about what you do want because that'll allow the picture to be more clear for those around you, right? And then focus more on opening yourself up to trust. It is safe for you to love. It is safe for you to love and trust. Once you begin to open up trust more, you're going to notice that flame sparks up again. But we have to be willing to open up our heart, right? We have to be willing to open up our heart. But we also have to know when it's time to say no to certain things, right? But also we have to know when to open up our heart. Because if it's constantly closed, and if we are only holding on to the past, and our heart is constantly closed, we're also not getting anywhere. So either we have to just, you know, in either situation, we have to leave the past behind. We have to cut away from the past. We have to cut ourselves away from the past. The past is not the present, and it doesn't have to be. We're in control of that. We're in control of that. So what are we focusing on, and what direction are we deciding to go in, and what do we really want? After you figure those things out, the rest of it will become so much more simple. So that is basically what I have for my Cancers, suns, moons, and risings for your month of September and all that's going to be going on for you and your zodiac sign. Be sure to also check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign if you have not already in order to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you. For the month of September, I am sending you all of my love and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye! Alright, so my Leos, suns, moons, and risings, welcome to your part of the astrology prediction for the month of September. So I'm so happy that you are here. So we start off September on September 4th specifically with Venus moving into Virgo. So this is when Venus is moving into your second house. When Venus transits the second, it can increase our finances. We may have like a bonus coming in. We may have more money coming in around this time. We may be feeling like money is just, you know, being put in our pocket and it's actually staying there. It's not just flying out the window. And this can also be when we are kind of interested in making new purchases. This can also indicate like making a newer, bigger, shinier purchase in your life or doing something that feels really good. You may even be making certain moves in your career that are going to increase abundance for you at this time or maybe even in the future. This could definitely be also a planning stage. So planning for what you really desire to attain in the future, planning kind of more about your material world, like how am I going to attain this? What am I going to do to get it? And all that kind of stuff. Then on the 9th of the month, we're going to have Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Libra, and this is going to be in your 3rd house. So when Mercury goes retrograde, it causes us to review, revise, and kind of like replan certain things. So there could be a lot of reviewing, revising, and reflecting beginning on the 9th of the month. And being in your 3rd house, this is a lot of reflecting on past communication, past interactions, even different people in your life, your friendships and all that kind of stuff. There could be certain things coming up around this time that cause you to reflect a lot. Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house can also be when certain friends come back into our life from the past as well. Certain people that we used to talk to, people that we've like randomly met here and there, maybe coming back into your life around this time. Mercury retrograde usually draws us back to previous people that were in our life. And being in the 3rd house, this is more like people on a platonic or networking or friendship level. And this could also be a time where maybe even you feel the desire to reach out from people from your past. You may be thinking about different people from your past, and there may be a desire at this time to reach out to them, especially because we're reviewing and reflecting. And maybe there's certain things that have been left unsaid that we really want to say. Or maybe there's been certain things that have been on our mind that we've maybe been learning lately, and maybe we desire to rehash those out and to kind of, you know, approach things in a different way leading forward. Then on the 9th of the month, we're going to have the full moon in Pisces in your 8th house. And the full moons are all about closing out old chapters. Being in your 8th house, this is about endings and beginnings. So there's certain things here where it's finally time for us to tie up loose ends and let certain things go. This could be a real time of purging, especially since the full moon is in the sign of Pisces. So this could be deep subconscious stuff that maybe we've even repressed from our past. So this is finally time for us to let these things go. Let's close these old chapters. Let's have like a whole renewal in our life. So you may notice certain things around this time are coming up in order for us to close out those old things. This can also be closing out old passions and desires from our past as well, since the 8th house can deal with deep passions and desires. It can also deal with our sexual drive as well. And the full moons can create like maybe just the closing of an old chapter so that we can kind of start a fresh one. So we might be really feeling like a fresh new wave of passion. We're ready for that. But in order for that to actually come about, we need to cut away, you know, the cords that we have to our past. Right? So we can't keep hanging on to those certain cords. We're going to need to cut them off if we want that new wave of passion to come about in our life. And then on the 22nd of the month is the fall equinox when the sun moves into Libra. And on that same day, it meets up with Mercury in retrograde because Mercury has been going retrograde in the sign of Libra. So Mercury is going backwards and the sun's moving forward, and they meet up right on the fall equinox. So this is going to be what sets the tone for the whole season of fall for my Leos. So this, for the next, all the way up until December 21st, there's going to be a new kind of tone set. And since we're starting off this season with Mercury retrograde, right conjunct the sun on this day in the sign of Libra, and this is your 3rd house, this is really going to be a time of us kind of like reflecting on who have we been showing up as? What has our communication style been like? How can we improve our communication style? A lot of my Leos, you may be reflecting on previous experiences, previous interactions you've had in your life. How did those turn out and why did they turn out that way, right? So what can we learn from that so that we can move forward in the future in a whole different way, so we can get a whole new different result in our future and we no longer need to repeat the past and have the past staying the same. Then on the 23rd, Mercury retrograde moves into the sign of Virgo. So it moves back and begins transiting back into the sign of Virgo. And that is going to be transiting your second house. And this can be when we really begin to plan brand new things, especially when it comes to our finances and our career. So are we investing our money into the right places? Are we making wise choices with our money? Are we planning things properly in our career, especially when it comes to what we want to create in our life materially? So what do we really want to create? Are we making the right moves and choices that are actually going to get us that result? And if not, Mercury retrograde is really helping us replan and revisit these ideas so that we can repurpose them to something that's new and something that really works for us. Then on the 24th, we're going to have Venus in Virgo opposing Neptune in Pisces. This is your second and eighth house. So this can be where we're noticing some resistance, because anytime that there's an opposition, it's sort of an opposition of energy where we're noticing that we need to sort things out because they may be in conflict with each other. So Neptune being in Pisces in your eighth house, we are dreaming up brand new visions that we want in our life. New passions are coming up. We're like, ooh, that's an exciting vision. That's an exciting idea. But then it opposes Venus in the second house. And Venus is in the sign of Virgo. So this is what's practical about this. How can we find the money to maybe make this happen? How can we find the time and the resources to make these dreams and desires happen? Or how do we take these passions and make them more practical in the real world? Do we have the right resources for this to actually make it happen? So that's going to be something that kind of comes about near the end of September for us to sort out and figure out in this area. I also want to say that Venus and Neptune are also just a very positive kind of positive combination of planets. Even though they're in opposition, Venus and Neptune are still a very beautiful combination of planets, regardless if they're in a harsher kind of aspect to each other. It still brings out a really good energy. So being in the second and eighth house, we're also realizing more things around finances. The eighth house is more of shared finances, and then the second house is more of your own personal finances that you've earned yourself and created yourself. So when both of these are in opposition, we may be sort of even wondering, is there investment opportunities for me? Is there somebody who can maybe even help me, or somebody I can network with who can help me boost myself in this area, especially when it comes to media even. So Neptune, since it's in the sign of Pisces here in your eighth house, this can also deal with media. You know, maybe we have certain people that we know that work in media that can maybe help us out in something that we're really wanting. Maybe we're wanting to advertise something. Maybe we're wanting to like get started in something, and there's other people and other connections that we have that may be able to help us out. Then on the 25th, we're going to have the new moon in Libra, and this is going to be in your third house. And new moons are all about new cycles. So this is a time where new cycles are going to start beginning in your life. So by the end of September, there's like a whole new kind of opening happening here, and this is in your third house. So this deals with the people that are in your life. There could be a whole new realm opening in terms of friendships. It could be like a renewal of sorts, or it may even be like new people are now coming into your life. There could also be new curiosities and new interests that you have around this time as well. And maybe we're realizing how to be more balanced in our relationships, especially when it comes to our friendships. Because the new moon being in Libra in the third, maybe we're realizing how to set proper boundaries, but we're also realizing how to be an equal to our friends, how we can have a balance in our life, with our communication, right? How can we listen but also be open and speak? How can we do both in balance with each other? And then ending the month of September on the 29th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Libra, which is going to be in your third house. And when Venus moves over here, this is a really great time for connecting with people that we love, people that we really enjoy. This could even be when we start focusing more on friendships, focusing more on our communication. We may notice that we feel like communicating with more love, and we may also be receiving communication that is more loving and more balanced and more open. So Venus is is the planet of love, beauty, and also money. So there could also be new opportunities here for money as well through networking. We may also get new networking opportunities with Venus transiting the third. There could be like friendship get-togethers, and maybe we're meeting somebody who we really hit it off with, somebody that has a lot of information that can really help us in certain ways, and we learn something from it and it sparks our curiosity for something else. We may even desire to like learn new skills, learn new stuff, study new things, ask bigger questions, reaching out to people that may even be able to help connect you in order to get where you want to go in life. So that is what we have astrologically for my lovely Leos for the month of September, my Leo suns, moons, and risings. Now we're going to check out your love life for the month of September for my Leo suns, moons, and risings. So let's see what we get here for my Leos. We have the King of Swords. Your love life is going to be about communication and focusing on compassionate communication. How can we communicate more compassionately? And also, how can we be really mature with it too? Because the King of Swords is a very mature card when it comes to communication. There might be certain things that you really desire, certain things that maybe you even want to get off your chest, certain things that need to be said, certain conversations that need to be had. And the King of Swords is all about being in a level of really heightened maturity and also compassion, to be able to communicate those things, set those proper boundaries, but in a very loving way, to where it feels comfortable to set those boundaries, because we know that we're doing it in a loving way. We know that we're doing it in a compassionate, respectful way. We also have the card here of stay optimistic about your love life. So this is the card of, I would say for your love life in the month of September, it's much more positive than what it has been. I think that there's going to be a new energy in the month of September where you feel like you are receiving more confirmation around your love life. You're receiving more like, what's the word that I'm looking for? More validation as well in your love life. I feel like a lot of my Leos, if there has been any insecurities in your love life or any worries or stress around your love life, I'm really thinking that there's going to be some sort of validation or confirmation kind of coming your way during the month of September that makes you feel a lot more secure and safe in your love life. Also, excuse me, I just ate my lunch, so. And we also have the card here of trust coming up. This is learning how to trust in your love life and to also not let worries overtake you. This is learning how to fully open yourself and trust in your future. Trust that you can have a very positive future. Trust that your future is going to be positive, that you are going to, make deeper connections and connect deeper in your love life, and that your love life is going to continue to grow and get better. When we have that trust, things turn out a lot better. And I'm really thinking that the month of September for my Leos is bringing you the validation that you need in order for you to actually fully begin to trust your love life on a much, much deeper level. So that is what we have for my beautiful Leos for your month of September. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. I am sending you all of my love, and I hope I see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Virgos, and welcome to your part of the astrology horoscope. This is for my Virgos, suns, moons, and risings. So welcome. So we go into the month of September on September 4th with Venus moving into the sign of Virgo, which is your sign. So this is moving into your first house. And Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So when it goes into your first house, this is going to bring out a major focus towards yourself and your self-worth and towards self-love. So starting off the month of September, there's going to be a major focus on what do I really like? What do I really want? What do I want to experience? A lot of my Virgos, you may be really into self-improvement towards the beginning of September, maybe wanting to focus more on your beauty and enhancing yourself and, making yourself feel really good and asking yourself, what makes me feel abundant? What makes me feel so much love? What makes me feel like I am romanced, that I am, sitting in my element and I feel like, a queen or a king or anything like that. So that is this Venus transit in your first house, and this is going to be going through pretty much the entire month of September. So it's a major focus on you and a lot about self-improvement and making yourself into the best version of you. So starting off the month with that transit is a beautiful, beautiful transit. Then on the 9th of the month, we're going to be having Mercury retrograde in the sign of Libra, and this is in your second house. And Mercury retrograde is when we revise, review, and kind of repurpose different things and reflect on our previous months. So I think there's going to be a lot of reflection for my Virgos, especially over the past like 3-ish months of your life. And being in your second house, this is going to also cause you to reflect on your money. What kind of job are you working right now? Are you happy in it? Do you enjoy it? When it comes to your savings and how much money you want to make and the things that you want to buy in your life, maybe we're going to be reflecting on that and asking ourselves, okay, do I have enough for this? Do I need to change my lifestyle in any way? Or are there certain things in my life that I want to get rid of? A lot of the times when Mercury goes retrograde through the second house, being in the sign of Libra, this can also be where we are wanting to be more minimalistic and we're wanting to get rid of the things that we no longer use in order to create more balance in our life. So a lot of my Virgos, you may even be going through a bit of a purge and getting rid of old stuff during the beginning of the month, or you may even be just kind of replanning your life and replanning, what you want your life to look like, especially financially and materially for you. So we have that going on in the beginning of September as well. And then on September 10th, we're going to have a full moon in Pisces, which is in your 7th house. And this is closing out an old chapter in your relationships. So has there been certain endings in relationships in your life? And if so, the full moon is helping us really close that out so we no longer need to feel attached to that. And it's also really helping you see things for how they really are. Okay? So Pisces can sometimes see things in their imagination the way that they kind of want to see them, because Pisces rules the imagination and it kind of sees like so many different things, right? And Pisces is a very intuitive, beautiful sign, but the full moon over here is really helping us see, what do I actually really want in my relationships, and what do I need to close out in order to get the relationships that I really want? What kind of habits do I need to stop doing? What kind of old things, old ties to the past do I need to fully let go of in order for me to move forward in what I really do want, in order for me to kind of attain the life that I do want and the relationships that I do want? So what patterns need to be ended here, and what do I need to cut ties with? Then on the 22nd, we're going to have our fall equinox when the sun moves into the sign of Libra. And it is also going to be conjoining with Mercury, because Mercury is going retrograde in the sign of Libra, and it's going to be meeting up with the sun as the sun moves into this sign. So this is going to be setting the tone for the entire fall season for you. And this is all happening in your second house. So the entire fall season for my Virgos is going to be heavily focused on your material life, your money, your career, your job, the things that you're buying, the things that you own. What do you want that to look like? What do you want to have in your life? And how are you actually going to get that? For a lot of my Virgos, this can also indicate a time where you're now going to be increasing your finances in some kind of way. And maybe it's because we are reviewing and revising previous choices and realizing that maybe we want to create better choices in our life that make us feel more abundant so that we can get to our goals. And again, I really just think that there's going to be some endings here for a lot of Virgos in your career and also in your material life. There's going to be a lot of endings and closing out old things, closing out old chapters, reviewing and revising stuff. So previous stuff that maybe we said yes to, or previous things that we've done and committed ourselves to, we might be revising certain parts of that or rethinking them so that we can move towards what we do really want, because we may be realizing that our current kind of material world may not be fully offering what it is that we fully desire. We might not be getting the full picture of what we wanted. And if so, the fall season is really going to be the time where all of my Virgos, you are going to be really rethinking things and figuring out where you really belong and where you really truly want to go and what that is really going to look like for you in your future. Then on the 23rd, we're going to have Mercury retrograde move back into the sign of Virgo. So the next day, it moves back into the sign of Virgo, and this is going to be when it enters your first house. And this is going to be where you're revising and reviewing and reflecting on yourself. Okay, so where have we maybe done things wrong, or where could we improve ourselves? How can we reflect on our previous choices and kind of see, how did I end up right here, and how do I alter that and change it so that I end up in the future that I really want? So that is the beautiful side of Mercury retrograde, and especially being in the sign of Virgo, moving back into your first house. It is all about reviewing and revising and improving yourself through reflection on yourself, your previous choices, and all of that. So it is bringing out a beautiful transformation for my Virgos, which is going to be amazing. And then on the 24th, we're going to be having Venus in Virgo opposed Neptune in Pisces, which is going to be in your first and seventh house. Your first and seventh house. So it's in opposition with each other. Okay, Neptune being in your seventh house, there could be a certain vision that you have around relationships. You might be fantasizing a lot about what you want your love life to look like, what you want your future partnerships to look like, what you want your friend groups to look like, all sorts of interpersonal relationships. You may be fantasizing about what that's going to look like. And then you may also be feeling like certain things are in opposition with yourself. Because Venus being in your first house, there may be certain oppositions. We may be starting to reflect and think, what did I do wrong in order to cause this in my relationships? Or what has my relationships been stopping me from? Some people may even feel a little bit repressed or restricted by their relationships. Or certain people may even be feeling like there's a certain vision that you really want to get to, but maybe we're needing to kind of change a little bit in order to really start to change ourselves to get to that vision that we really desire. So there may be certain self-improvement that we're like, I'm gonna need to focus on that if I wanna get to this vision, okay? So how do I get myself in the vibration and in the frequency and in the self that I need to be in order to kind of get the vision that I'm trying to attain? So that is going to be that. And I also want to point out that anytime Venus and Neptune are in any aspect to each other, it is always quite positive, regardless if it is a harder aspect or an easier aspect. Both Neptune and Venus are such a good combination of planets. So even though they're in opposition here, it is still causing beautiful transformations, and it's like beautifying your life, starting to romanticize your life more, starting to add in more visions of like what your fantasy life would look like. So Venus and Neptune are really helping make that happen, but we're realizing how we need to maybe transform in order to fit our vision that we're really wanting. Then on the 25th, we're going to have the new moon in Libra, which is in your second house. So this is causing a brand new cycle to begin in your career, in your material world, and with kind of all the things that you have around you. So are we kind of like wanting to be more minimalist? Are we wanting to maybe add certain new things into our life? Are we wanting to work a certain career? Are we wanting to open up a new door of opportunity for ourselves? Because by the end of September, that is going to be the energy that's coming in for my Virgos, is this new moon in Libra causing this new kind of wave, a new door opening for more opportunities in your life, especially financially and within your career. Then on the 29th, we're going to be having Venus moving into Libra, which is in your second house. And when Venus moves into the second, that is going to be where a lot of people and a lot of Virgos will be realizing that their finances are increasing. So your finances will likely be moving up by the end of September in some way, or we may have like opportunities or different things that help us feel more abundant. We may even be making a new, bigger purchase as well, because Venus transiting the second can definitely indicate making an investment. Okay, so we may be investing our money somewhere. We may be buying something that's an investment for us. We may be finding new ways in our career to expand our money somehow. So that is what we have for my Virgos for the month of September for your zodiac sign. And now we're going to be focused on your love life. So my Virgo suns, moons, and risings, let's find out a little bit about your love life for the month of September. Ooh, there's a bunch of cards that just flew out. Let's see what this is. So we have the Hierophant coming up, the Six of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. So where do we need more balance in our life? Like Virgos, you're the sign of being of service to others. And when we have the Six of Pentacles come up, this is a reminder that we need to be more balanced and be more fair, especially when it comes to our own needs. A lot of Virgos love to be of service to others. Although sometimes it can also be the opposite too, where we're constantly in service to ourselves rather than other people. But look at where you are in your life. Are you constantly putting your needs behind the needs of others? Or are we constantly putting our own needs way in front of the needs of others? Where can we find more balance? Because the month of September is going to be about finding balance in your love life. Are we only focused on what somebody else wants from us and we're compromising our own wants and needs for that? Because if so, September is the highlight of being like, no, we can no longer do that. We need to find the balance of that. Page of Pentacles in your love life. There could be a new interest that you have, or you may even be more detail focused, like I want to really improve. The Pentacles are all about self-improvement, investment into the self. So a lot of my Virgos, you may be really wanting to invest more into yourself for your love life. Maybe you're wanting to also surprise somebody with a bigger, purchase, or somebody may even be surprising you with a gift of some kind in the month of September. And the Hierophant as well is about commitment. How committed are we to our love life? Do we want to commit to it? Do we want to improve? A lot of you may also be seeking out learning about love and romance more. Some of you may be like seeking out advice from somebody that you really look up to, or some of you may even be seeking out courses or books that can help you improve this area of your life as well, is something that I'm seeing. So let's go ahead and also shuffle our oracle cards to get any last info on my Virgo's love life. We have keep an open mind. So this is, what I'm seeing for this is not being closed off. I'm seeing a lot of my Virgos, you are becoming a lot less rigid and you are open towards improvement and change in the month of September. A lot of my Virgos, you are like, you know what? I want to improve myself in ways that I didn't even know existed. I'm going to keep an open mind. I want to do something that's kind of outside of the norm. I think a lot of my Virgos, there's going to be a lot of things that cause you to maybe step outside of your comfort zone a little bit in your love life and to kind of keep an open mind rather than being like, no, I'm never going to join a dating app. That's not my jam. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Maybe I should start joining a dating app, right? Things like that. Things that we may have previously been resistant to. I really think the month of September is about us getting outside of our shell and no longer being resistant to certain things. No longer being resistant to improving ourselves and improving our love life. Finally wanting to, focus on in that direction. Then we also have worth waiting for. So there's something where you may be like kind of impatient in your love life. Something that you're like, I really wish this would happen. I really wish I could find my person. I really wish I would finally get married. Or I really wish something, there's something that you're kind of maybe wanting to happen or transpire in your love life. And there is a big message here about it is worth waiting for because it's divine timing. So I think that there's certain improvement that all of my Virgos, you are going through some big self-improvement right now. Some big improvement in general. And with the worth waiting card coming up, I'm really thinking that there's certain things that are going to transpire that are really important to occur before the thing that you're really desiring. It's really important for it to transpire and occur first. So for your love life in September, it's all about kind of preparing you for what it is that you really want and desire in your love life. And it is climbing up that ladder so that you can get to that goal. So a lot of good things are coming in the month of September for my Virgos. It is a big kind of like self-improvement month, but I think you're going to come out of it so much better than ever. You're going to be so proud and happy of yourself. So I am sending you so much love. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I see you in my next one. Bye! And welcome to your part of the horoscope, my lovely Libras. For my Libra suns, moons, and risings, this is going to be all about your month of September. So on September 4th, we have Venus moving into the sign of Virgo, which is going to be transiting your 12th house. So whenever Venus transits the 12th, it can cause us to want to take more time for ourselves, more alone time, to focus on loving ourselves, but from the inside out, rather than, Venus is the planet of love. It's the planet of beauty and money. And when it transits the 12th, this is very internal. So we're finding out our internal needs. We're focused more on our internal needs. We're focused more on ourselves and maybe wanting to take a little bit more personal time away from like other people or away from like big social events and things like that. So there could be a desire to spend a little bit more time alone and to also really work on yourself and your mental health as well, because the 12th house is about mental health. And since Venus is going to be in Virgo in the 12th house, this can be a big focus on how we can really improve ourselves mentally and from the inside, so we can really start to love ourselves and beautify ourselves from the inside out. Then on the 9th of the month, we're going to be having Mercury retrograde in the sign of Libra, and this is moving through your first house. So as Mercury goes retrograde over here, Mercury retrograde is revision, revising, and reflecting. So as it goes retrograde over your first house, which is all about the personal self, you may be doing a lot of self-reflection after the 9th of September and through the rest of September. So the month of September is going to be a huge reflection time for a lot of Libras, and it might be more of an introverted month for a lot of you as well. So you may be reflecting on your past choices, who you are, where you are in life, where you really want to go, and it's going to be making those revisions in your life so you can really begin to step forward in the direction that you really want. So it's going to be a lot of reflection and a lot of kind of figuring out exactly where you want to go in your life. So revising those certain things in order to gain a bit more balance and traction in life again. Then on the 10th, we're going to have a full moon in Pisces, which is in your 6th house. So this is closing out old chapters, so old cycles that were constantly occurring in your career or in your work or even in your health is going to be now finishing and closing. We're putting the finishing touches on that. So when it came to our routine, was our routine intact? Did we have the routine that we really wanted? Because the full moon in the 6th house could be an ending of an old routine that really just no longer is working for you. Maybe this is a routine that has stopped us from really kind of achieving what it is that we really want or working on our goals. And if so, it looks like with this full moon in Pisces in the 6th house, this is definitely the closing of that old chapter, so we can wrap it up, complete it, and hopefully move on to something new by the time that we have the new moon. Then on the 22nd, we have our fall equinox, which is when the sun moves into Libra, which is in your first house. And since Mercury is also in Libra, this is actually the same day that they end up meeting up together. As the sun moves forward into Libra and Mercury is moving backwards, they conjoin on the fall equinox. And the fall equinox kind of sets the tone for that entire season for us. So for my Libras, since we have this really significant transit kind of happening on this day, this is showing what your fall season is kind of going to be focused around. And since we have that Mercury retrograde there, this is definitely focused around yourself and revising certain things in your personal world, revising yourself on a personal level and doing some bigger reflections on a personal level so that you can begin to alter and change those things, so that you can begin to also change your trajectory. So Libras, ask yourself, what is it that you really want, and what is it maybe that we have to let go of certain things in order to place new things in that place, because there's certain goals that you want, but when our schedule is currently filled up, with all these different other things that we used to do, we might be now realizing that we need to remove a couple things and replace them with the things that we truly do want to do. And this may be also why there's a lot of those 12th house transits going on, because it seems like we are spending more time kind of like on our own, doing our own thing, and figuring out what is it that we really want, rather than being social, rather than kind of, doing the things that we used to do. It's sort of like we are taking a little bit more time for our personal life and our personal selves. And then we have on the 23rd, Mercury retrograde moving back into the sign of Virgo, which is in your 12th house. So as it's been retrograding through Libra, it ends up moving back into Virgo on the 23rd. And this is, of course, in your 12th house. And when Mercury goes back into the 12th, it asks us to reflect on a lot mentally. Is our mind in the right place? Are we doing the right things, making the right choices? We may even start reflecting on certain past things in our life in order to maybe revise them, reflect on them, and kind of see how we can learn from those scenarios, how we can learn from those situations. So Mercury retrograde going in this area is going to really help us learn from past situations so that we can grow and heal them, because Virgo is all about healing. So now is a huge month for healing all those things by reflecting on all of this stuff. And this is going to really help all my Libras change your trajectory towards going in the direction that is going to lead you more towards the life that you want to create for yourself. Then on the 24th, we're going to have Venus, which is in Virgo, oppose Neptune in Pisces, and this is in your 12th and 6th house. So this is realizing that there may be certain things that we desire that may be in conflict with our current schedule. So Neptune in Pisces being in your 6th house is, what are you dreaming up in your work life? And when it comes to your health, your fitness, your diet, and healing other aspects of yourself. What is it that you visualize for yourself? Because Neptune is that visualization planet, but it's in opposition with Venus right now in the 12th. So there could be limiting beliefs right now that are stopping you from achieving what you really want. And this is going to be a reminder, because whenever Venus is in the 12th, opposing Neptune in the 6th, this can literally mean that our goals are very attainable right now, but we're having certain limiting beliefs that are holding us back. It's not something that's physically really, truly holding us back, but it may be some sort of limiting belief that we have, and maybe we need to do some revisions and revising around the 6th house could be around our finances, or around our current schedule, or around what we're really used to doing. This could also be around fitness and around health, okay? So when these are in opposition, it's like, okay, how can we reorganize these so they actually end up really working for us, okay? So that is what we have there. It is getting past limiting beliefs so that we can start to go towards the vision that we really want. And I do also want to remind you that Venus and Neptune, they're two planets that actually, their transits with each other are really beautiful transits. Even though they're in opposition, which can be seen as more of like an opposing, conflicting kind of transit, Venus and Neptune are two planets that tend to get along really well, and their energies are really fun with each other. And even though this can be a little bit of a more challenging transit, it's actually still a really beautiful transit, because it offers a lot of like fantasy plus beauty plus money plus all these different things. So that's kind of like this Neptune Venus energy. It is still a very positive energy regardless of its opposition. So it's going to really help us begin to realize, what do I need to do in order to get to my vision? And it's interesting because it seems like the physicality is almost already there, but we're needing to kind of get past our own limitations around this fantasy in order for us to actually really get there. So basically, regardless of its opposition, it brings out a lot of really good energy. Then on the 25th, we have a new moon in Libra, which is in your 1st house. And new moons are all about awakening new cycles and bringing about new cycles. So this new moon in your sign is going to cause a new personal cycle for you. So this is going to really open up like a brand new kind of chapter for all of my Libras. And then on the 29th, we're going to have Venus moving into Libra as well, which is going to be in your 1st house. And Venus transiting this area is when we start to focus more on ourselves, what we really desire in life. And Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. Transiting the 1st house, this is when we start feeling a lot more alive. This can be when we start focusing on a lot more self-love and focusing on, okay, what makes me really happy? What do I really enjoy? This can also be when we're feeling a lot more personally abundant and really good as well. So this is us getting a lot more in alignment with what we love, with what we desire, with what makes us feel really good. And this can also be a time when a lot of my Libras will be focused on improving themselves. This can be self-improvement, wanting to invest back into yourself, invest more time into yourself, invest more money, more resources, or other things into yourself. That is also Venus transit the first house. So with that being said, let's go ahead and find out a little bit about my Libra suns, moons, and risings love life in the month of September. So let's find out what comes up here. We have the Eight of Cups being reversed. So there could be something in your love life where maybe there's like unfinished sort of feelings, or maybe we've walked away from certain feelings before, discarded them, and it looks like in the month of September, this is sort of coming back to sort of revise old things. This could also be coming back into old emotions that still need healing, that we have not healed before. So is there certain emotions that maybe we've abandoned or repressed or have not brought up or have not talked about that still need healing, that maybe still need to be acknowledged? You know, I think in the month of September, for a lot of my Libras, there's definitely an energy that you're kind of needing to still heal from. And it looks like September is going to bring the opportunities for that, so that you can start feeling more whole and complete. And once we feel whole and complete, whenever we're moving forward on something, we know so much more about what we want and the direction we're really going in. So it does look like, you know, don't ignore things where something feels like it's not fully complete, right? Don't ignore things that, you know, don't walk away from things that are making us feel like there's still more to say. And let's sort of kind of come back there and make it more full, make it more complete, so that we feel good about it. We also have the card here of passion. So for a lot of my Libras, the month of September is also one where we're getting back in touch with what makes us feel really good, which makes sense because we have a lot of those first house transits that are happening during the month of September. So this is really starting to bring about, okay, what makes me feel really good? What makes me feel really passionate? What do I really want out of life? And that's reflecting clearly in your love life as well, about figuring out what is it that makes you feel passionate. And then we also have new love coming up, and also make the effort. So with these two cards, for a lot of my Libras, I think that there's going to be new interests. This could mean literally that there's going to be like a new love interest in your life for some of my Libras, but new love can also kind of indicate that we are getting more passionate about something. Maybe we're finding a new love in ourselves. Maybe we're finding something new that we love about our partner, and it's kind of igniting a new spark or a new flame for us. And then this make the effort card for the month of September is also us sort of realizing, like, in order to get effort out of our love life, we're needing to put time and effort into it. We need to put more time and effort into it if we want it to give that back to us as well. We can't just expect our love life to kind of just show up for us before we're willing to put in the effort. Sometimes we have to kind of make the first move or make the first step. And this card about make the effort, I'm really seeing that there's going to be more time spent maybe focused on your love life, more time being offered there, making more of an effort in your love life. So even if you're single, this could be putting more of an effort towards your love life as well. You may even have somebody that's trying to pursue you and make the effort for you as well. So that could also be taken in that context too. So if you are single, it definitely still applies and would indicate you wanting to maybe put more effort towards your love life, or somebody really trying to pursue you in the month of September. So that is what we have for my beautiful and lovely Libras. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Definitely be sure to check out your other sun, moons, and rising signs if you have not already, in order to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for the month of September for you. I'm sending you all of my love, and I hope I see you in my next one. Bye! Hello, my beautiful Scorpios, and welcome to your part of the astrology prediction for September. This is for my Scorpio suns, moons, and risings. So welcome. So on September 4th, we have Venus moving into Virgo, which is in your 11th house. And when Venus moves over here, this can be when we're spending a lot more time with friends. This can also be a time where we are much more curious, much more out and about in the world, where we want to have more experiences. We're wanting to interact with people. We may even be really wanting to like look into into certain things and explore our curiosity a lot more. Venus also being over here can indicate that we are spending more time with certain people, or maybe even kind of making a more deeper connection with somebody that we're really excited to talk to, somebody that we're really excited to network with, somebody that we really are curious about. We want to pick their brain. We want to know more about who they are and what they do. So Venus transiting the 11th can really cause an event like this to occur, especially since that's happening in the beginning of September. It would likely be that this is happening in the beginning of September. Then on the 9th, we have Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Libra, which is going to be in your 12th house. So when Mercury goes retrograde over here, Mercury retrograde is the time of revision, replanning, reflecting on certain things. So as it transits the 12th house, we may be reflecting a lot on our previous choices. We may be reflecting a lot on our mentality, the way that we always are thinking, the thoughts that we have deep down in our subconscious might resurface at this time in order for us to kind of review and revise them. We might be thinking like, I notice I'm always thinking in this way, and other people might be thinking in that way. So this is a time where we might be focused on our psychology. We might be also observing other people's psychology more, thinking like, how are they always in a positive mood and always in a positive mindset? You know, I might be noticing certain things like this, or we may even be talking to somebody who has like a mindset that's really inspiring to us, and we might be like, they think in a really different way than I do, and it might be something that we're like interested in learning more about, or even making certain revisions in ourselves in order to kind of adopt a more healthy mindset. Mercury going retrograde also in the 12th can be a time where we are reflecting and reviewing some of our creativity. We could even be looking at certain things we've recently created, and we might be like, how can I do better next time? How can I learn and revise my my efforts and my work in order to kind of get a better outcome next time creatively? So that could also be part of that transit. And then on the 10th, we have the full moon in Pisces, which is in your 5th house. Full moons are always closing out of old chapters. And being in your 5th house, this would be an old chapter of possibly dating, our dating life. This could be closing out an old chapter in our way that we have fun, how we express our passions, the things that we enjoy doing, pleasure, all sorts of things like that. So the full moon here is kind of wrapping up and closing out an old phase. Maybe we notice that we're maturing in different ways, and we're like, I'm kind of attracted to different things than I used to be. So we might be kind of closing out old chapters in ways that we used to kind of have fun, and maybe we're opening up new ones. Then on the 27th, we have the fall equinox, which is when the sun moves into Libra. And then on that same day, we also have Mercury, which is going retrograde, that is going to meet up in conjunct the sun on that same day. And this is sort of setting the tone of what the fall season is going to be like for you. And since we have both the sun and Mercury meeting up in your 12th house, the whole kind of theme for fall for my Scorpios is doing a lot of like revision and reflecting and kind of fixing things that weren't quite perfect in our eyes. So it's like we're kind of reviewing old choices, behaviors, patterns that we have, deep stuff that we have kind of in our mind that we're like, you know what, I really want to have a refresh mentally. And so a lot of my Scorpios, this is a time for refreshing yourself mentally, especially if you've been noticing that your thoughts are not really in alignment with what you really want. Maybe your thoughts aren't in alignment with how you truly want to be thinking and feeling. So this is a time where a lot of my Scorpios through the whole fall season, you're going to almost be reinventing yourself and reinventing your mindset to something that really works for you rather than something that kind of stands in your way. And then on the 23rd, we're going to have Mercury going retrograde. That moves back into the sign of Virgo. So as Mercury is retrograding in Libra, it actually moves back into the sign of Virgo on the 23rd. And this is going to be when it enters your 11th house. So now, my Scorpios, you're going to be focusing on and revising certain things around friendships. So who are we always interacting with? This can also be a time where a friendship from your past actually comes back up, since Mercury retrograde is going through your 11th house. There could be like a friendship or somebody from your past that might reappear in your life around the end of September, or you even may have an inclination to reach out to somebody from your past during this time as well, because Mercury retrograde can definitely bring out those feelings of like, I really feel like reaching out to this person and saying a few different things, or sometimes we might notice that they reach out to us. So this could definitely be something that happens around the end of September for my Scorpios. Then on the 24th, we are going to have Venus in Virgo oppose Neptune in Pisces, which is in your 11th and 5th house. So this can be when we start to realize that the new way that we want to have fun, maybe we're also needing to make new friendships that correlate and relate to the new ways that we are wanting to have fun. Just as I was mentioning with that full moon in Pisces in your 5th house, this is closing out old chapters and old ways that we used to have fun. And maybe we are reawakening new things, or just awakening new desires of how we want to begin having fun again. What do we find fun now versus what did we used to find fun? Because it looks like we're closing out old doors and kind of opening up new ones of like, you know what, I'm more mature. I feel like I want to have fun in this new way. And with this Venus opposed Neptune that we're having on the 24th, this is sort of really having us realize that maybe our friends aren't fully relating to us as they used to. And so we're kind of like starting to interact with new friendships, which I really think for a lot of my Scorpios, there could also be new friendships coming up in your life. And maybe we're noticing that we're kind of drifting towards those people instead. And then on the 25th, we have a new moon in Libra, which is in your 12th house. So this is going to be when all of that, all those new sort of revisions that we were making mentally start to really implement and take place. So by the end of the month on the 25th, that is going to be when my Scorpios, your new mindset is really starting to kick in. This is a whole new chapter mentally for you. This is a whole new chapter with your creativity. This is a whole new chapter with kind of just opening up new creative outlets for yourself as well. So there could be new creative interests that you get around this time, and also just a feeling of wanting to express creativity more and do things that are a little bit more interesting to you. I think Scorpios, you're focused on what is interesting to me now versus what am I kind of getting bored with because I've done it too many times. So there's definitely new interests that will be awakened by the end of September. Then on the 29th, we have Venus moving into Libra, and that is going to be into your 12th house. So a lot of 12th house kind of stuff happening for my Scorpios. And Venus, whenever it transits the 12th house, this is a time where we start to love ourselves, but from within. And a lot of my Scorpios, you may even kind of feel like spending more time alone. And maybe it's because with those older friendships, maybe we're not seeing them as often as we used to. And Venus transiting the 12th is definitely when we feel like maybe spending a little bit more time alone, or even when we are sort of have new interests, but we're keeping them secret for now. So my Scorpios, you could have new interests kind of blossoming around this time that you're really excited about, but maybe we're like, I'm not going to talk about it yet because it's still so new. So I don't want to spill the beans quite yet. So there definitely could be new interests that are really captivating you by the end of the month. And Venus also transits the 12th, awakens our creativity on a really deep level. And we also start to kind of love ourselves, but from within. It really starts on a deep level from within, mentally, emotionally, and then it slowly comes externally as well. But yeah, Venus transit the 12th is a lot more like focusing inward on like, let me make myself feel good inside. So there's going to be a big focus around creating an inner environment that really feels good for you. So that is what we have for my Scorpios for the month of September. Now let's focus on my Scorpio suns, moons, and risings love life for the month of September. So my Scorpios, let's see. Scorpio love life. We have the devil being reversed. So finally unchaining yourself from things that were maybe an illusion. Maybe we were feeling trapped or oppressed in certain ways in our love life. Maybe we were feeling kind of like like we couldn't really express ourselves, or we couldn't really do the things that we really wanted to do. There could have been certain limitations on us, but when the devil's reversed, it indicates that we are kind of breaking the chains that used to be on us, and we're realizing, you know, I don't want to be trapped anymore. I don't want to feel confined. I don't want to feel restricted. And so we maybe are confronting certain things and, you know, setting healthier boundaries. We can set healthy boundaries that actually allow us to have more freedom so that we don't need to feel trapped, right? So we can set those. And a huge thing about it is having a lot of trust in your love life, having trust with the people that you're around, and also not limiting yourself to certain things that we are currently limiting ourselves to. So the devil reversed is when we start to break free of those past limitations so that we can begin to feel more ourselves, to begin to feel more free. So let's see the other two cards that we have here. We have Love Yourself First and Past Life Relationship coming up. So with the Love Yourself First card, this one's really standing out to me because your whole astrology for the month of September was kind of about awakening a lot more self-love and focusing a little bit more on you, and being a little bit more focused on your internal world. Love yourself first. In your love life in the month of September, it's going to be a heavy focus on self-love. There's going to be a heavy focus on not trying to people please in the month of September, not trying to make other people happy all the time. This month is a huge focus on Scorpio. What makes you happy? This is time to put yourself first, right? Because if we cannot fill up our own cup first before coming to a relationship, that's when we end up being needy, and then we expect the other person to fill our cup, and that kind of creates a toxic environment. But instead, if we can learn how to put ourselves first, fill up our own cup, then we can show up to our relationship with that full fulfilled feeling, and we can offer so much more from that place rather than coming into a relationship with a cup half empty or empty, right? Because then that becomes the dynamic when we start to rely on our partner to fill it. And that ends up kind of putting a detriment and more hardship on them. So it is actually really important to love yourself first and to put yourself first, you know, in a relationship. But then of course there needs to be that balance where you put each other, you know, and you have that nice balance together. But we do actually oddly need to be a little bit selfish and put ourselves first because that way we don't need to become needy partners, right? Then we have past life relationship here. So there also could be like a feeling of maybe awakening and also reflecting on past memories, things that really made you feel good. There could be a reflection on that in the month of September, kind of reflecting on the past and our previous relationships and kind of learning from them, learning that dynamic and maybe reflecting on it so that we can kind of break free of old patterns and old kind of routines and habits that we have in our love life so that we can begin kind of putting ourselves first and showing up how we really want to. For some of you, this could also be reawakening new sparks or reawakening old sparks from the past. With somebody that you've known before. You could be talking to somebody that you've known before. Kind of like I was saying with that 11th house Mercury retrograde there, can definitely bring up people from our past. So some of my Scorpios, there could be somebody from your past kind of coming back in. And that could even be platonic for some of you. It could definitely be platonic, but it does look like somebody from your past is definitely making some sort of reappearance in your life during the month of September. So that is what we have for my Scorpio suns, moons, and risings for September. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. I am sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Sagittariuses, and welcome to your part of the zodiac sign prediction. This is for my Sagittarius suns, moons, and risings. So welcome. So on September 4th, we have Venus moving into Virgo, and this is going to be when Venus enters your 10th house. The 10th house is all about our goals and where we're striving towards, and Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So as it enters into your 10th house, I feel like Sagittariuses, you are ready for an upgrade at this time. Like this is the upgrade energy. We're ready to elevate. We're ready to move on to higher, bigger things. I feel like Sagittariuses, you are so ready for an upgrade in your life, an upgrade in who you are, in your own identity. And I really feel like This can also be a time where a lot of Sagittariuses get a lot of like ideas around career or around work in order to maybe increase finances, grow your money, coming up with like new ideas to like accelerate and push forward in your life in many ways, especially materially and within your career as well. There could also be certain personal goals that you are really ready to like get after. The 10th house is something where we can really start to look at our flaws, but in more of a motivational way, especially with Venus being over here, because we're really realizing like in order to love myself, I really need to become the best version of myself. And so that 10th house energy really helps us take an honest, good look at our life and an honest, good look at where we currently are, and that versus where we really want to be. So on September 4th, with Venus moving over here and beginning to transit your 10th house, this is like, I really want to like be my best. I want to get into the best shape. I want to get to my best goals. I want to be my best self. And so some of you may even be interested in like buying a planner and actually planning stuff out and being like, I'm dedicating to this, I'm dedicating to that. September is going to be a big month for that for my Sagittariuses, with Venus in Virgo transit your 10th. Then on the 9th, we're going to have Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Libra, which is in your 11th house. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde, especially through the 11th house, it can bring up relationships and people from our past. So being specifically in your 11th house, I would not be surprised if you hear from old friends, or if you start thinking about people from your past a lot and get an inclination of like, oh, I really want to reach out to them and see how they're doing. So around this time, Mercury can definitely bring up these feelings and these connections back into your life. And being in Libra in your 11th, like, this is really a time where I really feel like there's going to be people from the past that are either on our mind a lot, or actually reconnecting and coming back into our life from the 9th and then through the rest of the month of September. Then on the 10th, we're going to have the full moon in Pisces, which is going to be in your 4th house. So this is closing out an old cycle within your home life. So there could be certain things that we're just like, I've outgrown this, I feel like changing this. This could even be with your family. This could be an ending of a certain cycle that you've been in for the last little while with your family. And this is finally closing out that chapter so that we can begin opening up a brand new door and a brand new chapter with our family, with our home life. This can even be with our security as well. The 4th house is family, home life, and also kind of our sense of security and our foundation. So that can also equate to the money that we have in the bank that we're saving up with. So this is an ending of an old cycle that we've outgrown, we've matured, we've learned certain lessons in this area, and we are ready to kind of like change a little bit and enter a new cycle where we are making kind of different choices and all that kind of stuff. Then on the 22nd is when we have our fall equinox, which is when the sun moves into Libra. And on that same day, it is actually going to meet up with Mercury. So Mercury's been going retrograde, going backwards, the sun's moving forward, and they're going to meet up on the fall equinox conjunct together, which is in your 11th house. So this is kind of setting the tone for the rest of this season of fall for my Sagittariuses. And with these two conjunct here, I would not be surprised again if the whole season of fall is kind of focusing a little bit on reflecting and reviewing and revising things in our past. So when that deals with friendships or people that we haven't seen in a long time, people that we haven't talked to in a long time, they might reappear, or we may find that our mind is like wandering and thinking about them a lot lately. And if so, this is sort of setting that tone where, you know, we're learning a lot from those past relationships and those previous interactions that we've had in our life. So that's setting that tone for the month of fall. A lot of you might even think about your impact on the world in the bigger picture as well. So some of you may also be thinking about the entire world and humanity. That might be something that is coming up for you as well, because the 11th house is more than just friends. It's also the entire world, our whole planet, Mother Nature, and all the collective of humanity. So some of you may even get this like inclination of wanting to make a bigger impact, wanting to kind of create some change in the world as well. So that can be another thing that's kind of coming up for Sagittarius around this time. And that may also kind of set the tone for the entire season of fall. That could be like a bigger theme that we are noticing, that we're kind of thinking of here, and we're wanting to reflect and see and find our place and review how we've been as a person and how we can improve moving forward. Then on the 23rd, we're going to have Mercury retrograde, then moving back into the sign of Libra. So as it's moving backward in Libra, it is going to move backward into Virgo, is what I mean. It moves backward into Virgo from Libra. And that is when it enters back into your 10th house. And when Mercury retrograde enters back into your 10th house, this can be when we're reviewing and revising and reflecting on certain career choices or certain goals that we've had. So we're asking ourselves, did I meet the goals that I had for myself in the past few months? I've set certain goals, and you know, Sagittarius is, you're always kind of shooting for something new. Sagittarius are very curious, but when Mercury retrograde is in the 10th house, it's really asking you, and this is going to be a big moment of reflection of, have I met the goals that I was telling myself that I was going to meet? Have I done the things that I said I was going to do? Have I been taking action in that way? What has been stopping me from maybe taking that action? How could I take action in a better way? How could I schedule things out a little bit better? Mercury retrograde is really asking all the Sagittariuses, as it moves back into Virgo in the 10th, that is really about reorganizing your life so that you can meet your goals. Virgo is the sign of planning things out, scheduling things out, making sure that you have a routine that works for you. And so being in the 10th, where have we maybe been falling off of our goals? Where have we maybe been making up excuses, or, you know, maybe not sufficiently editing our schedule so that we can meet these certain goals? So maybe this is a time, you know, by the end of September where we're really going to be rehashing things in our life when it comes to our goals. And this Mercury retrograde is really working in your favor, because Mercury retrograde is such a beautiful time where we get to reflect, review, and revise our plans. So this is the major kind of thing that will be happening by the end of September for my Sagittariuses. So this is going to really help you get back on track and to kind of steer in the right direction through this time of reflection. Then on the 24th, we're going to have Venus in Virgo opposing Neptune in Pisces, and this is going to be affecting the 10th and the 4th house. So Neptune in Pisces is in your 4th house, and then Venus in Virgo is in your 10th. Whenever there's an opposition, it kind of creates this energy of seeing kind of maybe what's standing in your way, what's kind of maybe holding you back from certain things. So Venus in Virgo in your career really wants to excel here, really wants you to elevate, take the next step, get to the next level. But then Neptune being in Pisces in your 4th is really saying, okay, but have we set the proper foundation for that? Have we thought about the routine? Have we thought about the finances that we're going to need for that? Have we thought about how it's going to affect our personal life? Maybe our personal life is standing in the way of us excelling in our career because maybe we are, you know, seeing conflicts. Maybe we don't want to give up our personal time in order to move ahead on career, and maybe we're noticing that there's a push and pull in this area. So Neptune in Pisces in the 4th is really helping us visualize exactly what we want for our foundation and for our personal life and our home life. But then Venus in Virgo is like, oh, but I really want to elevate myself too and get to my goals and do all these big things. But then there's that push and pull because we're realizing we can't really have one without the other. We need to kind of either keep them in balance, or if we go too far in the other direction, it takes from the other. So how do we find that perfect balance between them? And that is what oppositions help us focus on and help us sort of evaluate so that we can bring it back into balance. So that's something that's going to be happening on the 24th. And this is again happening in your favor because it's going to really help highlight this so that we can see it more clearly where we may have certain imbalances and where we can actually figure out ways of bringing them into balance so that we can meet both goals on both ends. So we have that on the 24th. Then on the 25th, we have the new moon in Libra, which is in your 11th house. So the new moon in Libra, anytime there's a new moon, it is entering a new cycle. And being in your 11th house, this is a new cycle when it comes to your friends. So there could be like, we're maybe opening up brand new doors. We're maybe wanting to show up as a different person and kind of like be a new us, especially since there's all this elevation that's kind of happening for my Sagittariuses. You're really starting to up level and elevate yourself. And that might mean that who we are around our friends might be a little bit different, because maybe we're noticing that we are making new choices. We're not wanting to do the same stuff anymore. So this new moon is this new cycle. And it's also better balance within friendships as well. Like, have we been showing up enough? Have we been listening enough? Have we been communicating enough? Have we been putting enough time towards that? And then the 11th house is also about our worldly impact as well. So this could also be opening up a new cycle and us realizing, okay, how am I impacting the world? Am I making a difference? Am I making the difference that I want to be making in the world? So the new moon on the 25th is going to really start to open up that new cycle for Sagittariuses and allow you to kind of step into that new self and into those new decisions and those new ideas and the new trajectory that you may be wanting to take. Then on the 29th, we're going to have Venus move into Libra, which means that it is moving into your 11th house as well. So tons of like 10th, 11th house stuff happening for my Sagittariuses. And as Venus moves into the 11th house, this is really going to be when we're starting to put more love towards the impact that we have on other people and on the world. We're maybe wanting to be more compassionate, show more love, show more emotion, invest more, because Venus is also the planet of money, right? So this can also be us wanting to invest more into, you know, the lives of other people, wanting to invest more of our time, money, and resources into the world, or into our friends, or into the people that we are around. We're really wanting to make probably a bigger impact at this time when Venus is transiting the 11th. At the very least, this would be having a bigger impact on the people that are close to us. So our friends, are we wanting to show up a little bit more and show our appreciation more and all that kind of stuff. And we may also be realizing at this time, there could also be an important person in your life around the end of September. And this could be somebody who is kind of showing a lot of love and compassion towards us, because it can also create those connections for us too. And we could also be meeting an important person around this time, or getting closer to somebody as well around this time, and kind of, you know, talking about bigger ideas together and getting more inspiration off of each other. So that is what we have for the month of September for my Sagittarius's suns, moons, and risings. So now let's go ahead and talk about my Sagittarius suns, moons, and risings love life for the month of September. So if you are interested about your love life, let's see what we have. We have the Empress coming up for my Sagittarius's suns, moons, and risings. So the Empress is a beautiful card. I feel like, honestly, that card coming up for your love life, you are going to feel like you are birthing a new cycle in your love life. You are maybe even incubating new ideas of how you want to show up in your love life, incubating new ideas about how you want to create your love life. Do you want more romance? Do you want to create more romance? Do you want to feel your best? I would not be surprised if a lot of Sagittarius are also focused on bettering themselves, just how kind of we were talking about with Venus transiting the 10th in the beginning of September. There is a lot of self-improvement here, self-love, so that we can feel our best. And I really think that you are showing up more as your best self in the month of September than you have maybe even previously, because you've grown, you've learned more. And the self that's coming out in the month of September is like ready to, you know, show up as the best version, as the healed version, as the version that's like, yes, let's create more romance, let's create more fun. And even if you're single, the Empress can indicate that in your love life, you are really focused on elevating yourself to the point where you love yourself so much that you're just like, oh, I'm ready. And you may even be more focused on pampering yourself in the month of September, or putting more effort into yourself, the way that you appear, your appearance, and your physique even, you know, being more healthy, focused on health, focused on wanting to be the best version of you. So that could definitely be a big thing that's happening in September. And oddly, I heard for some of you, meditation is something like improving your mental state is something that's going to be prominent in your love life in the month of September, like being your best self, and kind of like coming and showing up to your love life with a much more positive, open, fun, and loving sort of attitude. So let's see what else we get here for my Sagittariuses. Okay, I'm not even surprised that we have this card coming up for you guys, playfulness. I mean, Sagittariuses are literally always playful. But this one, I'd say, like, your love life is much more lighthearted. in the month of September. Like, we're not focused on issues as much. We're not focused on like, but I'm definitely seeing like transformation. There's a transformation here of taking like anything that has been weighing on you, and we're like, let's transform that to like focusing on the good, focusing on the romance. And even if you feel like lonely at times, you know, maybe we're without our partner for a couple days, or maybe we're currently single, I'm really seeing this sort of like major focus on self-improvement and pampering yourself, treating yourself, loving yourself. And I really think that that's going to make you feel this sort of like playful, romantic kind of feeling during the month of September. If you're in a relationship, I'm really seeing you kind of showing up with an already full cup and just having like a lot more playful energy when you're around your partner, and just not taking any moment for granted, feeling kind of a little bit more like fun and playful and all those good vibes. We also have flirt and heart-to-heart conversations coming out. So definitely really good vibes, honestly, in the month of September, where I just feel like you're having more fun. You're opening yourself up to having more fun rather than taking life so seriously. I'm just seeing this fun, lighthearted energy coming out of just wanting to be your best self and just enjoy yourself. There's this energy of, I just want to enjoy myself. There could even be a time where you're really opening up as well in the month of September, but it seems to, it's a very positive opening up type of thing. It's more playful rather than so serious and so like, ugh. Like it's a playful way of opening up and, you know, communicating. So I do think that there's going to be deeper kind of things going on, but they're more playful and lighthearted rather than super serious and with a lot of weight. They're much more airy and playful. So that is basically what we have for my Sagittarius's suns, moons, and risings for the month of September for your zodiac sign. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. I am sending you all of my love. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Capricorns, and welcome to your part of the zodiac sign prediction. This is for my Capricorn suns, moons, and risings. Welcome. So in the beginning of September, specifically on September 4th, we have Venus moving into Virgo, which is into your 9th house. When Venus moves over here, we are much more focused on how can we expand? How can we create more? How can I expand myself and be more, do more? So Capricorns, you may be really focused on kind of just having more fun and more freedom in your life as well, because the 9th house is also about freedom and sort of getting more curious and more interested in larger and bigger things and kind of focusing on more bigger picture stuff. So you may be more inclined to do things that make you feel much more free rather than being so stuck in a routine. I really think you're going to be exploring new ideas, new concepts, new ways of having fun, new routines, kind of things like that. There might be a much more experimental energy in the beginning of September as Venus transits your 9th house. This is like investing our time into trying new stuff, expanding our horizons more, and getting excited about all that kind of stuff. Then on the 9th, we're going to have Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Libra, which is in your 10th house. Whenever Mercury goes retrograde, it is a time of reflecting, reviewing, and revising. So it's actually a very positive thing, but it is, you know, more of the reflection, reviewing, and revising. So it does help us grow by kind of going backwards a little bit, but the Mercury retrograde, whenever it goes through the 10th house, this is where we're reflecting, reviewing, and revising our goals that we've had in life, the trajectory that we've been on, even in our career. The 10th house is about career, or it's about, you know, those bigger goals that we have, the things that we're reaching towards, that we want to grow towards. So the Mercury retrograde is asking us and kind of coming through this time and providing the energy of reflecting on these things. So Capricorn, have we been meeting the quota of our goals? Have we been actually getting to our goals? Have we been doing the things that we said we were going to do, you know, when it comes to the goals that we have? Have we been actually putting the time, energy, and effort towards that? Or have we been maybe slacking off a little bit? Or have we maybe been, you know, doing it, but maybe we're not getting the results that we wanted? And if so, that means that we'd have to reflect, review, and then revise so that we can actually get to the goals that we're wanting to get to. So Mercury retrograde that's happening on the 9th and through the rest of September is really going to be bringing up the energy of, okay, let's think about what were my goals? Am I actually doing what I said I was going to do? Am I meeting the quota of those goals? And if not, then it's time to revise. Mercury retrograde is definitely offering the energy of revision in those areas so that we can make the changes necessary to get to the things that we want to get to. So then on the 10th, we have the full moon in Pisces, and that is going to be in your 3rd house. Full moons are all about closing chapters, and being in your 3rd house, this is closing a chapter, possibly with like old friends or communication, maybe the way that we've been communicating. This can also be closing an old chapter with social media, especially since the full moon is in Pisces in your 3rd house. So this could also bring about the energy of maybe I've been spending too much time on social media and maybe I don't really want to do that anymore. Or maybe I've been always communicating in a certain way and I'm really wanting to shift that or change that. Or maybe we have even certain like small little hobbies or interests or habits that we do that we're also wanting to close the chapter of. So the 3rd house can be those habits or those other hobbies or things like that that we do, but maybe we've kind of outgrown that. Maybe we're ready to kind of start newer chapters that serve us more in this new month and moving forward as well. Then on the 22nd, we have the fall equinox where the sun moves into the sign of Libra, and it actually also meets up with Mercury on this day as well. So as the sun is moving forward and transitions into Libra, it actually meets up with Mercury retrograde on that same day. And those are both in your 10th house. And this is setting the tone for the rest of the season of fall. So your fall season, as the sun moves over here and conjuncts with Mercury, this is definitely a season where we are going to be very focused on what is stopping me from achieving my goals. What have I maybe been slacking off on? What have I maybe been doing that hasn't been giving me the results that I wanted? And how can I review and revise this and reflect on it and do some deeper research or thinking into how I can actually get to these goals, how I can actually move forward on them. So the whole month of fall, this is setting that whole tone for the month of fall. It's going to be very focused on your goals. It's going to be very goal oriented during the month of fall and how we can actually get there and make those things happen. Then on the 23rd, we have Mercury retrograde moving back into the sign of Virgo. So as it's been going retrograde through Libra, it actually enters back into the sign of Virgo the next day on the 23rd, and that is when it enters back into your 9th house. So this can be when we're reflecting on previous ways of expanding ourselves. So have we expanded ourselves the way that we've wanted to? Have we been, doing the things that we said we really wanted to do? The 9th house is definitely that expansion, that curiosity into new eras and into new areas of our life. So what have we been learning? Are those philosophies really working out for us? Are we implementing what we've been learning? Because maybe we've been learning a bunch of new concepts, but have we been implementing them? Have we actually been acting on them? Have we been utilizing them? And if not, Mercury retrograde in Virgo in the 9th house is definitely going to be like, well, it's time to start using those concepts. It's time to start implementing what we've been learning. It's time to look at maybe how we've been restricting ourselves from expansion. Have we been scared of expansion? Have we been holding ourselves back? And if so, how can we break free and move forward? Then on the 24th, we have Venus in Virgo oppose Neptune in Pisces, and this is going to be affecting your 9th and 3rd house. Anytime that we have an opposition, it sort of shows us and reveals to us where we have certain resistances to where we're trying to go. So Venus in Virgo in the 9th house is really calling us to learn more. It's really calling us to start to expand ourselves, explore new ideas, explore new realms, explore new parts of ourselves. Maybe there's going to be new interests that come up, but it's getting kind of opposed by maybe like older things that maybe we've learned or what other people may be telling us, since Neptune is in the 3rd house. So, we may have certain ideas that we really want to pursue or ways that we want to expand, but we may be noticing resistance from other research or other people's opinions that may be opposing our sort of new beliefs and our new explorations. And we may be noticing certain resistances there. Maybe we're also sort of interested in exploring new realms and new belief systems, but maybe we're noticing that maybe even we have certain limiting beliefs and we've been questioning ourselves. And if so, the 24th is really this time where we're going to be seeing, why haven't we been making those changes that we said we were going to make? Maybe it's because we're stuck in certain patterns and hobbies, because the third house is also about those patterns, habits, and other hobbies that might be holding us back from exploring the new realms that we've been wanting to explore in the 9th house. We've been wanting to expand, but maybe our everyday menial tasks have been getting in the way of us expanding more. And if so, Neptune and Venus in those oppositions is really going to kind of reveal that to us and show us how that's been maybe standing in the way, and why we maybe need to make some changes and alterations to our current habits and patterns and smaller routines that can help us kind of move forward into what we really do want to move forward on, and into those new concepts that we've been wanting to implement. And then on the 25th, we're going to have a new moon in Libra, which is in your 10th house. And this is a brand new cycle in your career and goal area of life. So the new moons are all about new cycles. And this new cycle being in your 10th house is definitely opening up brand new realms of moving forward in career, brand new cycles when it comes to your goals and how you're going to move forward on those goals, and how you're going to actually achieve what you really want to. So the new moon is actually a very positive time by the end of September, because it's like, okay, we've changed, we've elevated ourselves in new ways, so let's kind of like actually begin this new cycle and open this new doorway and do the things that we said we were going to do. Then on the 29th, we have Venus moving into Libra, which is also going to be in your 10th house. And as Venus moves here, this can be a time where we're noticing that more money is coming into our life. This can also be a time where we are really ready to move forward on those bigger goals, because we're feeling more alive, more vital, and, you know, we have more passion awakening in this area. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And when it transits the 10th house, this is when we're investing into ourselves, we're investing into our future, we're investing into our growth, we're investing into our goals. This could also be when we're striving for new heights, striving for new goals, new things that we really want to reach. And so this is a very positive time. Venus transit the 10th is so great, and it can also bring about promotions or pay increases, or new ways of making money, or just more money or abundance coming in into our life as well. So that is what we have for the month of September for my beautiful Capricorns. I hope you enjoyed that. And then let's go ahead and get into my Capricorn's love life for the month of September. So this is going to be for my Capricorn suns, moons, and risings. Let's see about your love life for September. All right. We have the Page of Wands coming up. The Page of Wands is new inspiration, something that's caught your eye, a new interest that you're like, ooh, I'm really excited to explore that. I'm really excited to do that. There could be new ideas, something new that you're sort of discovering that you're really excited to move forward on. Being in your love life, there could be like a new spark coming up in your love life that you're really excited about. Maybe you're talking to a new person that's just like really got you ignited, or even if you're in a long-term relationship, this could be like something exciting coming up for the both of you. This could be reigniting a spark between you both, or getting ready for something that's really exciting happening in your future. Like maybe you're making plans and you're like, oh, there's a new thing that we're really excited about and we're stoked about it. Yeah, and then again, if you are single, this could definitely be like somebody sparking your interest. The next card we have is Let Go of Control Issues. This is going to be something that really, I think, is going to improve your love life. I think a lot of you during the month of September, you're kind of letting go of certain patterns that you've had in the past. Certain maybe control issues where maybe we really needed validation. Maybe we really needed somebody to act a certain way in order for us to feel okay. And if so, it seems like the month of September, we're really healing from a lot of those, and maybe we're starting to challenge ourselves like, you know what? I recognize this behavior and I realize that this stems from fear or the need for validation, and I'm just not going to go there. I'm not even going to play into it. So there could be certain things coming up like this during the month of September where we're like, I'm not giving into that anymore. I'm not going to play into that behavior and be that way. We also have the card here of let your friends help you. So we may also be having certain bigger realizations because of the people that we're interacting with. Maybe we are gaining really good advice from the people that we are around. Maybe also for some of us, we may even be having really important interactions with friends that help us point out those control issues, or help us sort of reignite certain sparks in us so that we're feeling really good and reinvigorated. If you're single, this can also indicate that maybe our friends are trying to, set us up, or maybe our friends are really giving us kind of like that nice motivational push forward in our dating life and things like that. So that is what we have for my beautiful Capricorns, suns, moons, and risings for your entire month of September, for your love life and your general astrology. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. Sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next one. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Aquariuses, and welcome to your part of the horoscope. This was going to be for my Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings. So let's get right into it. So on September 4th, we're going to have Venus moving into the sign of Virgo. And this is when Venus moves into your 8th house and begins transiting this area. The 8th house is all about endings and beginnings, and it's also about shared assets and finances, and it's also about our sexuality and things like that. Whereas Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. So as Venus transits the 8th house, this can bring up shared assets with another person, or even like financial help. Maybe we're noticing that we are sharing finances maybe with another person. This could be when somebody helps us co-sign for something, all sorts of different things like that. Venus also transit the 8th house can be when we are awakening like unearthed passions within us during this time, and maybe we are kind of resurfacing some old stuff, or even renewing old things. So we may have old passions from a long time ago that are getting reawakened during this time, and maybe we are even kind of like closing out old chapters in our love life and opening up brand new ones, since Venus is the planet of love and beauty, and then the 8th house is all about endings and beginnings. So maybe we're ending an old cycle in our love life and opening up a brand new chapter in this area. We may even be really focused on healing our heart in certain ways, healing certain aspects of our love life, and maybe even healing certain aspects around our financial life as well, since Virgo is all about healing, and then Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And then the 8th house is all about those transformations. It basically causes major transformations where we end old cycles and begin new ones, and we go and reach deeper than ever before on whatever it is that's kind of happening in this area. So we're reaching more in depth in our love life, learning more about ourselves. We're learning more about our money and kind of what we want to do with that. And we're creating transformations in this area. So money may transform for you at this time. Your love life may transform at this time. And the 8th house always makes sure that these transformations are for your highest and greatest good. So any transformations that you're going through in the beginning of September is really starting to prepare you and heal you for a lot more in the future. So this is a time where it's like really starting to get ready for you and really starting to open you up to higher heights. So get ready for these transformations, because it is opening you up to higher heights. Then on the 9th, we're going to have Mercury retrograde in Libra, which is in your 9th house. Mercury retrograde is when we reflect, review, and revise. Being in your 9th house, this is reflecting, reviewing, and revising on how you want to expand in your life. So how have we expanded thus far in our life? Maybe we're needing to reflect on that, review it, and then revise it. The 9th house can also be our philosophies on life. So this could be a time where we're really reflecting on certain philosophies we've had and different ways that we've expanded in our life thus far. And maybe we're needing to reflect and review and make some revisions there so that we can actually begin to really expand in the way that we really want to. There's definitely new interests that could come up around this time, and that we are beginning to explore, or even different interests where maybe we are needing to kind of like bite our tongue and be like, I'm not really interested in that. But then the world is kind of just like, well, you know, we're going to have to dive into that. We're going to have to explore that regardless if we're interested in it or not. That Mercury retrograde is definitely making us sort of review and revise and reflect on different things so that we can begin expanding ourselves in new ways. We might have to, you know, listen to certain concepts, you know, from other people and start to think about, okay, are they correct on that? Or am I altering my point of view in some sort of way? So Mercury retrograde in the 9th house can really start to make us question different philosophies or belief systems that we have, or make us question certain interests that we have, and maybe explore new topics, maybe explore new things, or just cause minor revisions to our current way of thinking to help us sort of expand even further, because maybe we're having restrictions around expansion. Okay, so if we're feeling restrictions around expansion, maybe starting to open up and listen to other ideas or other things is going to really help us actually make the expansions that we've been really wanting to make. Okay, so then on the 10th of the month, we're going to have the full moon in Pisces, which is in your 2nd house. And the full moons are all about closing out old chapters. Being in your 2nd house, this would close out an old chapter materially for you in your material world. So financially, or with the things that you own, this is closing out old chapters with that. So we might be realizing that maybe we want to get rid of a lot of stuff. This can be a time where we end up purging a lot, getting rid of a lot, maybe wanting to be more minimalistic, maybe even closing out an old chapter financially. Were we spending too much money, or, you know, what was it like? Because now it seems like we're entering a new phase and we're ready for a new phase. But in order to fully step into that new phase, this is kind of like a time of where we're closing out old things. And again, this can definitely be a time where we feel like getting rid of old stuff, and we feel like, you know, getting ready for a renewal in this area. Then on the 22nd, we have our fall equinox, which is when the sun moves into the sign of Libra, from Virgo into Libra. And then on that same day is when Mercury is still going retrograde in the sign of Libra and meets up with the sun as the sun moves into Libra. So on the same day, that is going to be a very special transit, because this is what's going to set the tone for the entire season of fall for you, my Aquariuses. And basically, the sun and Mercury are meeting up in the 9th house. So this is all about new ways of expanding. Now it's time for my Aquariuses, it is time for expansion, but it is also time for us to sort of see, where do we maybe hold ourselves back? Where do we have certain boundaries and restrictions that are stopping us maybe from expanding fully into who we're supposed to expand into, right? Where do we maybe have certain limitations here that maybe we need to review and revise so that we can actually expand fully into this new self that's really wanting to come out, and to also kind of explore new realms that maybe we haven't explored before. This is new ideas, new hobbies, new interests, all sorts of stuff like that. So Mercury going retrograde over here is really showing us maybe where we've had certain limitations in this area, and it's time for us to maybe review and break free from those limitations so that we can move forward in new ways. So that is what is happening on the fall equinox. Then on the 23rd, we have Mercury retrograde that was, you know, transiting through Libra, and it moves back into Virgo at this time. And that is going to be when it moves into your 8th house. And the 8th house is again that house of endings and beginnings and deep transformations. So as Mercury retrograde moves back into your 8th house, this is going to really cause us to reflect, review, and revise on the transformations that we're currently making in our life. What transformations have we been lately making, and did we make those in the full way that we wanted to? Are they fully complete? Did we fully transform in that way? Are we ready for deeper transformations? Right? So that could be a big thing that comes up around this time with Mercury retrograde through the 8th is, are we ready to make deeper transformations? Are we ready to go deep within ourselves and get ready for a new stage and set the stage for something new here? This is also getting ready and preparing yourself for kind of like a new schedule or new routine, since this is in the sign of Virgo. So we're transforming things. Maybe we're even doing things in a more unorthodox way. And Aquarius, you are like the master of that. So Mercury retrograde through here is really showing us what kind of changes we really do want to make in our life, and how can we also reawaken some passion back into our life as well, because Mercury retrograde through the 8th can also really help us see maybe minor tweaks that we need to make in order to feel much more passionate, in order to transform anything that's been limiting us, in order to transform anything that can help us move forward in much bigger ways. Then on the 24th, we're going to have Venus in Virgo oppose Neptune in Pisces, and this is in your 8th and 2nd house. So this is really interesting. These are both kind of talking about finances, but in very different ways, and they also kind of talk about material versus more spiritual kind of stuff. So this is a very interesting sort of transit, and whenever we have an opposition, it kind of shows us what might be in conflict with where we really want to go, what might be kind of holding us back that maybe we need to break free from. So Neptune in Pisces being in your 2nd is opposing Venus in Virgo in the 8th. So Venus in Virgo in the 8th is kind of about shared finances, and Neptune in Pisces in the 2nd is about your own kind of more material world. So maybe we're realizing that some of our material world needs to kind of go through some sort of transformation. Maybe our finances are going through a bit of a transformation, or even just the things that we own. Maybe we're kind of like ready to kind of get rid of a lot, or maybe the world is almost calling us to sort of have a sort of reset in this area. So something is definitely transforming financially for my Aquariuses by the end of September, or this could even be materially. It doesn't necessarily always have to deal with finances, but it can also be materially. Something is transforming here, and this is going from more of personal assets to more of shared assets for some reason, because of the 8th house being the ruler of shared assets. So somehow something is like sort of shifting or changing here, and that's going to look slightly different for all Aquariuses, of course, but that is one of the transits that we have, right? So maybe we're moving into an era where we are needing to be more free and open with what we have, or maybe we're just going through certain transformations financially or materially that can help us, step into the new era and new cycle of our life. Then on the 25th, we have the new moon in Libra, which is going to be in your 9th house. And new moons are all about awakening new cycles. And so now finally, with all the work that was previously done through the month of September, on the 25th, when we have that new moon in the 9th house, that is beginning this new cycle of expansion. All of a sudden, the doors of expansion are like, okay, we're here. Like, let's expand. Let's go further. Let's awaken new interests, new hobbies. Let's get into it. Let's dive deep into this new world. Let's explore new realms, new things. So there is possibly like an exploration sort of like feeling that might be awakening within you by the end of September that you're really excited about. You're excited to expand. You're excited to move forward into this new realm, because it does seem like there is something new for you to explore. There could be new interests awakening at this time. There could be a new cycle in your life that you're excited to jump into and, dive into and get ready for. Then on the 29th, we're going to have Venus moving into Libra, which is in your 9th house as well. So as Venus moves into the 9th, this is going to be where we start to really love this new exploration. Venus is again the planet of love, beauty, and money. Being in the 9th house, this can be where we really start to expand our heart. This can be when we really start to expand also our money as well. This could be new opportunities that we see elsewhere about kind of expanding financially, expanding in the realm of our hobbies, expanding in what we love to do. And this can also be where we start to, see more beauty elsewhere. And this can also be when we start spending more time in nature. And this could also be when we are excited to maybe make travel plans, or at the very least kind of explore a new area. Maybe like going out for more time in nature, exploring new parts of your city that you haven't explored before, and all sorts of stuff like that. So that is what we have for my Aquariuses for the month of September. Lots of interesting aspects going on. And now we're going to focus on my Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings love life for the month of September. So let's see what we have coming up for my Aquariuses love life. See. Aquarius's love life for September. Really feeling these two cards. We have the King of Cups and the Four of Wands. The King of Cups is reversed, Four of Wands is upright. So the Four of Wands deals with our foundation. It can also deal with our home life, and it can deal with celebrations too. So in your love life, I feel like you're going to be more focused on like, how can I focus on celebrating the good? How can I set a foundation for more goodness? Some of my Aquariuses, you may be really focused on like celebrating something in your love life. Or even if you're single, this could be like, how could I create a really nice foundation to where I feel really good and I can like set the stage for something to happen in the future. So that is definitely Four of Wands energy there. King of Cups being reversed though, when it comes to your love life, where may we be like fearful of moving forward, or where do we need to maybe start to fill up our own cup so that we feel really good in our love life, rather than feeling maybe like the cup is half full, or, you know, maybe we just have so many other things going on to where are we, you know, bringing our full best self to our love life? If some of you do feel like something is maybe missing, or if you're feeling like emotionally you are looking for a little bit more, I'm really thinking that the interesting kind of dynamic of the month of September for my Aquariuses is about setting the stage for what you need, right? A lot of the times in relationships, we can, you know, see, you know, when we feel a lack, a lot of the times when we feel a lack in a relationship, we almost blame it on the other person for not showing up in the way that we are expecting them to. But a lot of the times, the solution to our problem lies within our own hands. And, you know, if we're needing more communication in love, for example, if we're needing more communication with our partner, we need to be more communicative. If we're needing somebody to listen to us more, we also need to be the listener more. Because it's always a two-way street. So if we're ever feeling like our cup is not fully full, we need to be the solution to that. We need to set the stage. We need to set the foundation for that. One thing I'm also kind of seeing here for my Aquarius's love life in September is kind of finding more fulfillment in your love life. I'm seeing that being a theme with King of Cups reversed and then the Four of Wands. I'm seeing a theme of finding more fulfillment in your love life. How can we find more fulfillment? What are you really wanting to feel? What are you really wanting to create? I'm almost seeing like a romantic moment coming up for a lot of Aquariuses in the month of September, some sort of like nice romantic moment coming up. And it looks like something it's like planned, whether that be by you or by your person. We also have the card here of separation. So some of you, you may be in a dynamic where maybe you have to like travel, or maybe your partner is like away for a little bit. And maybe that's something where it's like it's giving us time to reflect, and maybe we're like, ooh, I really want to connect deeper. Distance always makes the heart grow fonder, right? So there's interesting things here about, you know, there's actually a really interesting thing that I just heard come up. Separation can also be when we, so if we're feeling off about something, instead of hiding it, because separation can indicate that when we feel off about something, we're just like, we just remove ourselves from it. We're like, I don't want to face it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk about it. But it's going to be really important to set a proper foundation for you to actually fix any issues that do come up, instead of running away from them, instead of feeling separate from them, instead of all of a sudden, you know, backing away because we get scared, right? It's time for us to dive right into them so we can actually figure them out, rather than, you know, separation, because separation causes, it's almost like a form of self-sabotage because we're scared of getting hurt. And so this is a time to not fear getting hurt. Look at, then we even have the reconciliation card after that. So how can we, instead of separating, instead of distancing ourselves when we're feeling a certain way, how can we come back to it instead to figure it out so that we can have more of a reconciliation? If some of you are single, so for my single Aquariuses, what I'm seeing here is setting the stage for your future. What do you really, really want in your love life? Because it kind of seems like some Aquariuses, if you're single, it kind of seems like you are separating yourselves from the possibility of finding somebody. And if so, and we're wondering why we're lonely, it's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to like really get, you know, we're gonna have to really dive into it. We need to explore more. We need to, you know, open up our heart more. if we're wanting to be less lonely, if we're wanting to find somebody. We may need to heal certain things in us that we are currently feeling or thinking, certain limiting beliefs that we might have, right? Because that's going to help out tremendously. So that's what we have for my Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings. It looks like, you know, by the end of September, we have that beautiful reconciliation card. This could even be by mid-September or anything like that. It definitely seems like you are getting closer in your love life. You are opening your heart more. You are getting deeper in your love life during the month of September. So I'm sending all of my love to my beautiful Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings. Don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. Sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Pisces, suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your part of the astrology prediction for the month of September. So on September 4th, we have Venus moving into Virgo. And this is when Venus moves into your 7th house. So for my Pisces, Venus transit the 7th can really open up our heart to our relationships. Maybe we are wanting to express ourselves a lot more to the people that we feel closest to. This can be when we are making much deeper connections to the people that we're closest to. So this could be towards our family, our partner, our deep friendships that we have. We are really starting to get closer to them. And since it is in Virgo, this can also offer a lot of healing in this area as well. So if there's been certain things within relationships that really need to be healed and looked at, this is the time where that's really going to start to come up. This can also be a time of healing within yourself as well, and healing different wounds in yourself when it comes to relationships. So Venus transit the 7th is a very beautiful time of really starting to open yourself up much more emotionally, and to also begin healing yourself emotionally and connecting so much deeper with other people in your life, especially those that you're already decently close to. Then on the 9th, we have Mercury going retrograde, and Mercury retrograde is when we reflect, review, and revise. So the 3 R's, Mercury retrograde, reflect, review, and revise. And Mercury retrograde is going retrograde in your 8th house in the sign of Libra. And the 8th house is all about transformations, endings, and beginnings. It is about shared assets with other people, and it is also about deeper desires, hidden desires, sexual, our sexual self, and things like that. So Mercury retrograde is when we reflect, review, and revise in this area. So what really needs to be healed? What needs to be maybe altered and changed? Are we meeting our needs? And are we making the transformations that we really want to make? So is there certain things that we do need to transform in our life? Right? Are there certain things that maybe we've really repressed that might be coming up during this time? Because the 8th house can also bring up repressed stuff, especially when Mercury goes retrograde through it. So what have we repressed emotionally? Maybe we need to transmute and transform that so we can begin feeling passion, tons of passion again, because the 8th house is a very passionate house as well, and it's also very deep. So as Mercury goes retrograde in here, where do we maybe need to create more balance in this area so that we can feel so much more passion, so that we can transform old hidden things that have maybe been stagnant and staying in the way in this area? So I really think around the 9th, as Mercury goes retrograde here, it's really going to bring up all of these things that need to be healed and transformed so that you can begin a new cycle. Rather than constantly repeating the old cycle, the 8th house is about, nope, that old cycle, it's finally time to change it. It's time to change it into a new cycle. Instead of repeating our old habits and patterns and our old way of thinking, this is time to transmute it and transform it. So we're reflecting, reviewing, and revising this area so that we can feel more passionate again. You may even be thinking about, what am I most passionate about? Have I been focused on that lately? Have I been really putting my best foot forward in that area? And if not, Mercury retrograde is reflecting, reviewing, and revising. And because this house also deals with shared assets with other people, if we do have any shared assets with other people, this is going to be the time where we start reflecting, reviewing, and revising this area in order to, be more fair. So do we have certain partnerships in our life that we, kind of share a little bit of assets with, or we, share a business with, or we share, whatever with? If so, maybe we need to reflect, review, and revise to make sure that all those things are kind of going well, right? Then on the 10th, we have the full moon in Pisces, which is going to be in your first house, of course, since you are a Pisces. And full moons are all about closing old chapters. So this is a time where all my Pisces, you are closing an old cycle for yourself and you are ready to begin a new one. But it's time to finally really start to reflect even on yourself around this time about, okay, what cycles do I want to close within myself? What cycles do I want to stop repeating? What cycles am I kind of done with that I've outgrown that don't really serve me anymore? And that is what that full moon is offering. And it's on a much deeper personal level since it is in the sign of Pisces. Then on the 22nd, we have our fall equinox, which is when the sun moves into Libra. And then on that same day, we actually have Mercury retrograde in Libra that's meeting up with the sun. And this is going to set the tone for the entire fall season for my Pisces. And that's all happening in your 8th house. So the 8th house, again, is those transformations, those new beginnings that are coming out, transmuting old energy into something new that serves you rather than living through the old energy constantly. It is time to transmute that and transform it into something new. Instead of repeating old cycles, how can we transmute it so that we renew it? So it's a whole renewal, right? And that 8th house, it is also about those shared assets. So again, if we do have shared assets, this is going to be kind of the fall season of figuring out exactly how we can work those out so that these shared assets can be something that is beneficial to us and others as well, and also awakening those passions. So this is also a time of reviewing, what am I most passionate about? How can I reinvigorate that into my life? Then on the 23rd, we have Mercury retrograde that's moving back into Virgo from Libra. So it went retrograde in Libra, now it's moving back into the sign of Virgo as it, moves through its retrograde. And that's when it enters into your 7th house. Mercury retrograde in the 7th house is, again, reflecting, reviewing, and revising, but this is in the area of relationships for you. So with our close interpersonal relationships, how can we reflect, review, and revise in order to create more balance in our life when it comes to the people that we communicate with, the people that we're close to? Are we spending enough time with them? Are we connecting with them on the level that we want to connect to them on, right? Are we giving them the right amount of attention and care, and are we giving ourselves the right amount of attention and care, right? So it's that two-way balance. So we're reflecting, reviewing, and revising, and possibly also even going through a lot more healing in this area as well, since it is in the sign of Virgo. So as we go through that, as it transits this area, this is about healing our interpersonal relationships, the ones that we're really close with. So Mercury retrograde is definitely going to bring up those sorts of aspects. Then on the 24th, we have Venus in Virgo opposed Neptune in Pisces, and this is in your 1st and 7th house. So Neptune in Pisces is obviously in your 1st house, and then Venus in Virgo is in your 7th. Whenever there's an opposition, it kind of shows us what might be kind of holding us back from getting to the place that we really want to get to. And it really seems like, with this Venus in Virgo, Neptune in Pisces, this is a conflict with yourself versus your relationships. So, are we in balance here, or are we out of balance? So if we really want to have a relationship, for example, first and 7th house, if we're really wanting to have a successful relationship, where do we need to maybe open up more and be open to change more in order to accommodate that, right? The 1st and 7th house, very much, they can complement each other very well, but they can also oppose each other because they're very different. It's the self versus others. So if we're wanting better relationships, sometimes we need to learn about compromising on a deeper personal level in order to get the balanced, beautiful relationships. Or in order to, get to your personal goals, maybe we're needing to compromise a little bit in our relationships in order to get to our personal goals. So as you can see, these two can show up in conflict with each other, but they also can be in beautiful balance. And when we have these two areas balanced, that is when we have great relationships and a great personal life. But when Venus and Neptune oppose each other in this area, it's definitely going to highlight any imbalances that we have here. Are we too focused on the self and not focused enough on other people and relationships? Or are we too focused on other people and relationships rather than focused on ourselves and what we need? We're going to need to rebalance this area, and that is going to be highlighted on the 24th. Then on the 25th, we're going to have a new moon in Libra, which is in your 8th house, and this is all about a new cycle. So new moons are all about the awakening of new cycles, and then the 8th house is, of course, shared assets, the endings and beginnings, the renewal kind of energy, and passions. So there's a whole new cycle that's opening up here for my Pisces. A whole new cycle where maybe we have whole new boundaries and rules when it comes to shared assets. Maybe we have a whole new cycle coming out when it comes to our passions that we really want to awaken. Maybe we're having a whole new cycle because we're renewing old energy that was once stagnant, and now it's kind of rebirthing into something new. Then on the 29th, we have Venus moving into Libra, which is in your 8th house as well. And when Venus moves over here, it can actually cause us to gain financial support from other people. That could be one of the things when Venus transits the 8th. It can indicate also reawakening new passions. It can also indicate deeper kind of passionate desires, even sexually. It can kind of highlight our sexual life a little bit, and it can also bring about just new passions in general. So what really excites you, what really ignites your soul. And so Venus transiting this area can really bring about deep passions that we really want to explore more in the future. So what are you passionate about, my love, my Pisces? Because it looks like that is coming up through the end of September there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and find out a little bit more about my Pisces suns, moons, and risings love life. So if you are a Pisces sun, moon, and rising, sun, moon, or rising, let's find out about your love life for the month of September and see what Spirit has to say about that. So we have the Lovers coming up. That is so interesting, especially since in your astrology, we have so much 7th house energy. And then the fact that we have the Lovers, this talks about your personal self, and then also yourself in relationships. It's very much that 7th house kind of energy, even though it's kind of more of a Gemini card. But in this depiction, the Lovers is actually, one person looking at themselves in the mirror. So your love life during the month of September, one thing that I'm seeing is learning how to show up as your most authentic self and realizing that you are very lovable for the way that you already are. You don't need to compromise yourself in a relationship. You just need to show up authentically and find somebody that loves you authentically for who you are, rather than running away from yourself, or rather than feeling like you need to change or people please in order to have a positive relationship. I think that that's going to be a big theme during the month of September for my Pisces, is realizing you are lovable for the way that you are. Maybe also realizing that we're going to need to kind of learn how to balance our love life versus personal life a little bit more. How can we learn how to balance those two so that they work in harmony with each other rather than in opposition? Okay, let's see what else we have here. We have express your love. So another thing for Pisces, are we expressing ourselves enough? Do we let other people know our feelings? Do we tell people that we appreciate them, whether that's in your love life or just in your regular relationships as well? Are we expressing ourselves? Are we calling people up being like, you know what, I just really want to say that I love you and I appreciate you and I'm really proud of you and blah, blah, blah. Are we doing that, right? So the month of September is about learning how to open up your heart more, how to express yourself more, express your feelings, Pisces. The month of September is about expressing yourself openly and authentically, because we have that Lovers card coming up. So how can we use our words, since the Lovers is connected with Gemini? How can we use our words? Literally. Both of these cards are talking about expressing yourself verbally. Communication. So communication is going to be a big theme during the month of September for my Pisces. Your love life is all about your ability to express yourself. Okay, let's see what else. We also have true love coming up for my Pisces. True love. Okay. True love is found, but only felt when we're able to really express it, when we're able to really show it. right? So in what ways can we show that true love? I think September is going to be about showing and expressing true love. That is what the theme is going to be for my Pisces. So if you're in a relationship already, do we express ourselves enough with how we feel? Do we express our love enough? Do we communicate openly, right? If you are single, I really think the month of September is going to be about looking at yourself and realizing like, hey, I'm lovable and I don't need to hold myself back. I don't need to hold my words back. I don't need to close my heart off, right? So if you are a single Pisces, the month of September is going to be about learning how to open yourself back up, how to be open and authentic, and how to really express yourself and your love during the month of September. So that is what we have for my beautiful Pisces for September, my Pisces suns, moons, and risings. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs in order to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of September. I am sending you all of my love. Thank you so much for being here. Love you all so much, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye!